Sights and Sounds is brought to you. Sights and Sounds is brought to you.
We went to the movies. I forgot my wallet, but my brother sent me money.
I pretended not to notice.
Every day was a celebration. Muliko NTV tubalamusiza nnyo ku lunaku luno olw'ebbalaza ennaku z'omwezi limwenda lunaku lw'abazira wonna mu ggwanga eno ye NTV akawungezi nange Farida nakazibwe naye kansooke nkuwe ebikulu ebigirimo. Esoroti abazigu bakasuse bbomu ku nnyumba. Taata n'abaana be battiddwa, abalala bali ku ndiri.
Wano tewaliwo mazzi wano olonanga bulirabe eddwaliro. Mulina kutambula ne mukkirira eri wansi.
Abakulira eddwaliro ekkulu ekiboga basobeddwa emyaka babala 8 nga tebalina mazzi.
Kayo yabadde dduka ku speed.
Yo eyiganga abasawo batubidde n'omwana wa myaka 2 nnyina afiiridde mu kabenje 10 banyiga biwundu.
Baterezeemu era balongooseemu ogenda okutuuka olwokutaano World Cup wegenda okutandika nga tisi buli kimu kiri mu muteeko.
So nga poliisi etandise okwetegekera ekikopo ky'ensi yonna erambudde ebifo awanaalabirwa emipiira mu Kampala. Baniriza nnyo eno ye NTV akawungezi nange Farida nakazibwe. Tutandikidde Soroti ku kyalo Owongo abantu abatannaba kutegeerekeka mu kiro ekikesezza olwaleero bakasuse bbomu kika kya grenade ku nnyumba netta abantu 3 abafudde ye Semaka n'abaana be 2 abaana abalala 2 baddusiddwa mu ddwaliro ekkulu n'ebisago eby'amaanyi. Omusasi waffe katubulira ebibaddewo.
Omwana ono nga wa myaka 4 ajiddwa mu nnyumba eno nga taliko yadde ekisago. Ye taata we ne baganda babalala 2 bafiiriddewo so nga ate abalala 2 baddusiddwa mu ddwaliro ekkulu ery'Esoroti n'ebisago oluvannyuma lw'abatemu okubakasuka mu bbomu nga beebase ekiro. Kigambibwa nti abatemu bazze ekiro ne bakonkona ennyaddu kati omugenzi wabula bwe yaganye okuggulawo olwo bo kwe kuyisa bbomu mu kamooli ne bagisuula mu nju.
3 people died on the spot when the grenade was thrown inside the house at around 12 to 1 a.m.
Abaana 2 balumiziddwa era basuze balajana okutuuka budde kejenge. Bano baddusiddwa mu ddwaliro nga bajjudde ebisago wabula ng'embeera gye balimu ew'essuubi. Jo emirambo gy'abasatu giteereddwa mu ssanduuki kyokka nga gisensebuse. Omugenzi Ennyandu abadde yayawukana ne bakyala ba 2 nga kati yabadde abeera n'abaana be. Okusinziira ku mwogezi wa poliisi erudde eyo Hassan Juma Nnyene agamba nti bannazuula kyatisizza abantu bano.
We are trying to get to the ground to make sure that we get the clues that we are sure will lead us to arrest 1 or 2 suspects. They normally don't volunteer information to police.
Kyokka ekitundu kino kimanyiddwa nnyo okubeeramu enkayana ku ttaka eziviiriddeko abantu okufa. Okusinziira ku poliisi obutemu mu ggombola ya Asuleti buli waggulu bwogerageranya n'amagombolola amalala mu disitulikiti eno nga n'abasibe mu kkomera ly'e Soroti 5 ku buli 10 bava mu ggombolola eno.
Kitalo nnyo bannaffe ab'e Soroti. Bwetweyongerayo eddwaliro ekkulu ekiboga limaze kati emyaka 8 nga teririna mazzi. Eddwaliro lino likola ku bantu okuva mu disitulikiti 6 era nga mu mwezi balaba abalwadde abali eyo mu 3,000. Kino kikozezza nnyo omutindo gw'ebyobuyonjo nga kati omulwadde aweereddwa ekitanda alina okuleeta amazzi okuva eka.
Ebimu ku bintu omuntu byalina okwetikka ng'anajja mu ddwaliro wano ekiboga ky'ekidomola ky'amazzi naddala eri abo abaweereddwa ebitanda. Abatasobodde kujja nakyo bafuba okukigula ebweru w'eddwaliro ku siringi 5, ekintu ekikaluubiriza ennyo abalwadde.
Wano tewaliwo mazzi wano olonanga buliraba eddwaliro. Mulina kutambula ne mukkirira eri wansi ne mulyoka mugafuna eri nga bw'ogalabye eri wansi.
Batusanga nga wagize nga wakyafu nga batugamba tukwate egundi twerongoseze. Ate nga atugamba mbu teri tuwa amazzi.
Wadde taapu zaateekebwa mu bifo eby'enjawulo mu ddwaliro zaasigala bifaananyi era ng'endabika yaazo eraga nti zimaze ebbanga nga tezivaamu mazzi. Embeera eno bagibaddemu emyaka 8.
Singa omusaayi guba guyiise oba omulwadde yasesemye nga obubeera nga basobola okukirininga obulungi okulongoosa obulungi nebikola ki nebitukula nti obujama bubeera obungi n'omulwadde kennyini asobola okufuna obulwadde.
Abasawo mu kifo kino bagamba okukaluubirirwa basinga kufuna muleeba ssaako eddongoosezo eweetaagisa amazzi agawera.
Oluusi amazzi gatugwako naddala nga mu kiro eyo nga omulwadde yeetaagisa okulongoosebwa ng'ate tewali mazzi. Ali ne musooka mutuma amazzi agenda aleeta ebidomola 2, n'olwekyo n'amazzi ago temumanyi wa gyagajje oba gatukula oba tegatukula naye ate gemugenda okunaaba n'okunaazaako omulwadde n'okunaaza ebyuma nga mumaze okulongoosa omulwadde. N'olwekyo kati wabeerawo oluusi okulinda kati okulinda okwo oluusi singa omwana kati babagamba nti bagende bakulongoosa omwana akooye ate n'olinda essaawa 2 omwana tannakuggyibwamu. N'olwekyo oluusi agenda okuggibwamu omwana yakoze ki yafudde dda.
Ekirala ekikaluubiriza abasawo bano bye byuma naddala ebirongoosa ebikaddiye nga tebikyakola bulungi mulimu gwabyo. Abalwadde kwe beebaka nga balongoosebwa ssaako amataala agakozesebwa byonna byakuyegeekereza.
N'omulwadde okumusulika okubeera nti osobola okulaba obulungi naddala singa obeera ng'olongoosa kati nga bano abakyala abakulukuta omusulo tosobola kukikola kulwokubanga nti ekitanda tekisobola kwemenyamu.
Eddwaliro lino lyazimbibwa emyaka 34 emabega era nga bagamba nti yessaawa eddwaliro lino liddaabirizibwe. Kinajjukirwa nti minisitule y'ebyobulamu yavaayo neetegeeza nga bwegenda okubaako amalwaliro geddaabiriza mu ggwanga. Wano we wali zipayipu ezaasikanga amazzi okugajja ku nsulo ne zigambusa mu pampu nga pampu eyo yeyagasukkumanga mu ddwaliro era nga bagamba pampu eyo kufa kyekyavaako ekizibu okuba nga eddwaliro terikyalina mazzi ga taapu nga bandyagadde kitunulwemu embeera eno okuggwawo. Irene Namyalo, NTV.
Kulikayo nnyo Irene Namyalo. Eyiganga mawulire amalala ab'obuyinza mu ddwaliro ekkulu eyiganga batubidde n'omwana wa myaka 2 eyasimatusa akabenje nnyina mwe yafiiridde. Ab'enganda z'omwana ono nakati tebannamanyika kubanga nnyina abadde talina bimwogerako. Omwana ono y'omu ku abo 11 abasimatusa akabenje n'ebisago eby'amaanyi. Akabenje kaaguddewo kawungezi kajjo ku luguudo oluva eyiganga okudda Embale.
Abamu ku bakawunawo abasimatusa akabenje kano bagamba nti motoka eno ebadde wenyuka nga kaweewo era olwabisa omupiira embeera n'egaga.
What I can recall is the tire burst. After the tire burst, even the driver, I don't think whether he was not very keen in driving.
Bakawunawo bano bagamba nti akabenje kano kagudde mu bitundu by'e Nawangisa ku luguudo oluva eyiganga okudda Embale era nga motoka ya takisi eno yeefudde emirundi egiwerako.
Tulinnye mu motoka nga tugisanze ku Nairo stage wetujje ng'egenda Mbale direct. Wetutuse wakati awo nga tuvudde wakati wa Iganga n'Embale. Kati Nawangisa wetutuse mu Nawangisa awo ne tufuna accident emotoka yeebuseko omupiira.
Wabula ekikyatabudde abasawo ye mwana ono ow'emyaka 2 asimatuse akabenje kano naye ng'ab'enganda ze tebamanyiddwa kubanga nnyina afudde ate nga taliiko bimwogerako.
Waliwo munafu omukyala yabadde ayambadde ekitenge kitakataka yabadde n'omwana omuwala bebi yagirinyiddemu nga ku police barracks ejjinja.
Omwana ono afunye ebisago ebiwerako ng'amenyese n'okugulu era ng'ali wamu ne balwadde banne abalala bwe bajjanjabibwa eyiganga.
Yameneke n'omugulu kyokka kali kumanyibwaku beneye.
Poliisi egamba nti omugoba w'ekidduka kino abadde avuga ndimu omupiira okwabika.
And the vehicle was at a slope and the speed was high.
bombirira abagoba b'emmotoka eno nakati bakyanoonyezebwa oluvannyuma lw'okudduka nga bamaze okuzza omusango.
NTV akawungezi ebula ennaku bbiri zokka ekikopo ky'ensi yonna kigibweko akawuwo mu ggwanga lya Brazil wabula wadde kireesewo ekinyegenyege mu bantu bangi okwetooloola ensi yonna. Wano mu Uganda poliisi eyongedde okweraliikirira olw'ebikolwa eby'obutujju ebiyinza okutuusibwa ku bannayuganda abeesunga okulaba emipiira gino. Olwaleero poliisi ebadde yeetooloola ebifo ebiteekateeka okulaga emipiira gino okwetegereza engeri ebyokwerinda gye biyimiriddemu.
11 Ogw'omusanvu 2010 ly'essomo erikyasinze Uganda lye yali efunye okuva abatujju ba Al-Shabaab lwe baagirangirirako obulumbaganyi olw'okutwala amagye gaayo mu Somalia okukuuma emirembe. Bbomu zino ebbiri zatta abantu abaasoba mu 7. Okunoonyereza poliisi kwe yakola kwalaga nti obugayaavu bwali bw'amaanyi ku ludda lw'abannyini bifo bino abatujju bye baayita ku litalaba. 12 June 2014 Brazil egenda kwaka omuliro ng'ekikopo kino kiddamu nate. Wano mu Uganda enteekateeka zaatandise dda n'akabugumu mu bannayuganda. Amabaala, ebibanda, ebifo ebiriirwamu n'ebirala ebikyakalirwamu byesunga okunoga ennusu mu kiseera kino nga balaga abantu omupiira ku nsimbi. Wabula poliisi ekyali ku bunkenke obutoogerekeka olw'abatujju abeesomye entakera okukola obulumbaganyi. Ekitebe kya America kyafulumizza ekiwandiiko ekijja ekirabula abatuuze baayo okwekengera ne munyeera esala mu kiseera kya World Cup. Poliisi mu Kampala nayo terinze katonga kubooga etandikiddewo okulawuna ebimu ku bifo ebisuubirwa okulaga emipiira gino. Ekizimbe kya Kasia we batandikidde ekikwekweto. Wabula abakikulira bwe bakitegeddeko nti poliisi eggusa awatali kubalabula wabaddewo okubuguutana okukirajjira mu nju. Omwami ono gwe tutegedde nga Emmanuel Kiwanuka ekya poliisi okukyala ne bannamawulire tekimusanyusizza. Waliwo ebifo ebiraga sineema nga biba bikutte enzikiza poliisi gyetidde nti abatujju bayinza okugyeyambisa. Ewadde ebiragiro byeyagala bagoberere nga World Cup tennaba kutuuka oba si ekyo okuggweera mu nkomyo.
If I come here on Friday and I get when those people are there, I'm going to arrest you.
Season ya World Cup eno yeeraliikiriza nnyo poliisi ya Uganda oluvannyuma lw'ebyo ebyatuukawo mu mwaka gwa 2010 era ng'egamba nti abatujju bandyongera okukozesa omukisa guno okulumba Uganda. Wadde nga poliisi egamba nti ebyokwerinda ebinywezezza, omulimu guno egamba sigwayo yokka wabula ne bannannyini bifo bino bennyini.
For me, as the owner of this place, I'm ready and I'm ready to work, to cooperate with police officers whenever anything they give me the command.
Waliwo ebituli tubagambye baterezeemu era balongooseemu. Ogenda okutuuka olwokutaano World Cup wegenda okutandika nga tisi buli kimu kiri mu nteeko.
Olunaku lw'enkya ekikwekweto kino kyakweyongera okulanda ko n'okulambula ebifo gye babadde olwaleero okakasa nga waliwo enkyukakyuka. Solomon Kaweesa, NTV akawungeezi.
Webale nnyo Solomon Kaweesa. Abavuganya gavumenti mu kiseera kino abatalaaza enjiri ekwatagana n'okukyusa mu mateeka g'ebyokulonda bagamba era bongedde okukkaatiriza nti ekiseera kituuse President Museveni awummule mu mirembe kubanga ebintu kirabika bimulemye. Bano babadde Walukuba mu district ey'Ejjinja.
Bano mu kaweefube waabwe gwe batambuza mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebitali bimu ku luno babadde Walukuba mu district y'Ejjinja. Kuno kwabaddeko Nobert Mao, President wa DP, Miriam Matembe, Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, Bishop Zack Niringiye, Paulo Mwiru, ssaako n'abalala. Bano baategeeza abalonzi erudda eno ng'ekiseera bwe kituuse okusiguukulula NRM.
Emyaka 16 bukyangaleeta UPE awo omwana wa UPE siringi kasanvu omwaka gy'emyezi 9 siringi meka kwata siringi kasanvu kagabanyemu emyezi 12 omwana wasomera sente meka buli mwezi siringi 2 nga mu meka ecupa ya bbiya egula meka.
Luno tetwagala mbundu tukusaba ayi Katonda President Museveni omugyeko mu bufuzi mu mirembe. Amina.
Nze nina eggye lyange gye ntuumira
Mugisha muntu naye ayina ejjeerye lyaduumira n'olala otunu. Naye tugenze okulaba titujja kusobola okuwangula olutalo nga tuli kitole.
Nyiza ntyange kutuura n'ensanyuka eri nga mulwana b'ebusoga eyo bw'obeera bweru ne bateekako ebifaananyi abantu abalina envunza abantu bonna baseka nze n'enkaaba.
Era wano Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago yasinzidde n'alangirira ng'ekiseera bwe kituuse abavubuka nga ye okutwala obuyinza.
Abavubuka nga Paulo Mwiru, abavubuka nga nze n'abalala, ekiseera kyaffe eky'okutambuza eggwanga kye kino.
Wabula bino byonna tebyalemeseza batuuze mu kitundu kino okulangira abakulu bano obunnanfuusi buli kulonda bwe kubaawo.
Ninze nasooka mayugo okweranga nti nze ndi weefugizi. Aye abakulembeze baife paapate president nimwe asinga kutulya mu lukwe.
Kinajjukirwa nti gavumenti yalangiriranga olw'akakiiko k'abaminisita akateekebwawo okwetegereza enkyukakyuka mu kulonda.
Ebyo byabufuzi. NTV akawungeezi kyagenda mu maaso dakika ziri 13 eziyiseeko. Katuumule mu katono ddala olabe ebyobufuzi ebirala n'amawulire amalala mangi tovaawo. Olunaku lw'abazira, Pulezidenti ayogedde ssente z'okukulaakulanya eggwanga agenda kuziyisa mu magye, akooya abakozi ba gavumenti.
Buli lwe banaayongeza omusolo teri mu Kongo, teri mu Sudaani atamanyi gye tuli.
Ate abasuubuzi baagala gavumenti ekendeeza omusolo ku mafuta mu mbalirira ya 2014-15. Tovaawo.
Oluvannyuma lwa lutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa ab'ekika era bulala basigadde
abamu bajja ne babakima.
Era twagende mu Lukoola eyo inakasongula mu Buluuri, twagende mu Butale Babalaaro okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi.
Nti mukwate obutonde obw'ekkonkome, mukwate obutonde bwa Ebola mubuteeke mu nsigo. Omuzungu ayogedde palamenti muyise. Bosi basajja.
Omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo kati waliwo n'emyaka egy'entondo.
Waliwo yakiŋŋamba.
Bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola.
Dokita buli akwata Bayibuli eno ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza. For example, waliwo controversy yaliwo.
Tobeera mu ssuuti ate n'oteeka mu gganduula.
Olina kubeerako kimu.
Beerako kimu.
Banga okusomesezza tumaze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda. Eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina.
Nakulabira Abaganda baagala kabaka.
Makumi abiri gegayise ku ssaawa emu tukyagenda mu maaso ne NTV akawungeezi. Tuteyongerayo sonyiwako katono omuwendo gw'ababaka ba Parliament gwandirinnya ne guva ku babaka 215 okusinziira ku mulembeze w'eggwanga President Yoweri Museveni. Ono agamba nti ebitundu ebiriwo kati ebikiikirirwa byetaaga okwongera okusalwamu abantu bafune obuweereza obulungi. Museveni okwogera bino abadde ku mukolo gw'okujjukira abazira b'eggwanga mu disitulikiti y'e Mityana. Bo abatuuze mu disitulikiti y'e Luweero bambalidde abakulu ku kitebe kya NRM erudde eyo be bagamba nti be bavuddeko okuwangulwa mu kulonda okuze kubaawo mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo.
Ku mukolo gubadde ku kisaawe kya Ekereziya ya Bukalamuli nga kino kisangibwa mu disitulikiti y'e Mityana, omukulembeze w'eggwanga Yoweri Kaguta Museveni agamba nti waliwo ebitundu bingi ebiri mu kugugulana ng'entabwe eva ku mawanga. Omukulembeze w'eggwanga no wasinzidde n'ategeeza nti waliwo enteekateeka y'okulinnyisa ku muwendo gw'amasaza oba constituency okusobola okugonjoola embeera eyo.
Tugenda kwongeramu entonotono endala kubanga waliwo abalwana abali ab'amawanga gatali gamu balwanira mu constituencies ezo.
Museveni era ategeezezza nga bw'agenda okukozesa ensimbi ezibadde ez'enteekateeka ez'enjawulo okuziza mu kaweefube okutumbula ebyenfuna mu maka g'Abannayuganda.
Esente temulowooza nti zaanadi ziyokka, waliwo n'endala eza microfinance, ezo ziri eyo balireeyo. Waliwo eza NOSAF, PRDP.
Ku mukolo gwetabiddwako abantu omubadde bannamagye, poliisi, abakulembeze ab'ensikirano ko abakulu abalala abaazirwanako bambalidde abakulu ku kitebe kya NRM olw'okuba n'ebigendererwa byabwe nga bino bye biviiddeko ekibiina okuba nga kizze kikola bubi naddala mu kulonda okuzze kuddibwamu.
Ebyava eruweero nze mbisimba ku ggwandikiro ly'NRM Secretariat yerina ekizibu ekikyatulemesezza olw'ensonga abalikwatibwako ensonga batulekawo.
Ku mukolo gwe gumu, ssentebe w'abaazirwanako Haji Naddunga bw'asinzidde n'asaba Paalamenti ekyuse ku mateeka agafuga okulonda obukiiko bw'ebyalo nga kati ayagala abantu bonna beetayo mu kulonda obukiiko bw'ebyalo byabwe.
Etteeka likyusibwemu buli kifo kirondebwe bantu okulonda chairperson ye n'alonda abalala mukamange kyali kikola mu nkola ya mugendo kino kyanyuma.
Guno gwe mulundi ogwa 25 nga NRM ejjukira abazirabayo abaafiira mu lutalo era ng'abantu abasoba mu 3 be baweereddwa emidaali ng'akasiimo. Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
Nga twongera okutunuulira omulimu ogwakolebwa abakyala mu lutalo olwaleeta NRM mu buyinza, olwaleero katulabe Captain Gertrude Njuba nga y'omu ku bakyala n'abantu abagenda mu nsiko okuleeta gavumenti eno mu buyinza.
Toyinza kunyumya ku lutalo olwaleeta NRA kati yafuuka NRM mu buyinza n'otoyogera ku mulimu omunene ogwakolebwa abakyala. Gertrude Njuba yali ku mwanjo nnyo mu lutalo olwo olwamala emyaka 5 miramba nga lukoya.
Saakwata ku mundu kugenda ku frontline kulwana. Basooka ne bampa omulimu nga gwakukola muno awatali mu nsiko. Kukola mu bantu abali mu bulamu bwa bulijjo nga nyamba abaagala okugenda mu nsiko okubatwala bwe tuba tufunyeyo ebyokulwanyisa nga waliwo abituwadde okubitwala.
Mu kusooka nno omukyala ono ebyobufuzi yali tabyagalira ddala kyokka oluvannyuma lwa Bakati omugenzi Sam Kalega Njuba okusibibwa gavumenti mu mwaka gwa 1979 Gertrude yayingira ebyobufuzi
nga bakutte omwami wange. Ne babawo omuntu eyampa amagezi ngende ndabe Museveni. Newankubadde naye yali mu gavumenti eyo. Naye abantu abamu baali bamaze okitegeera tiwadde ali mu gavumenti eyo naye muntu wanjawulo. N'amuyamba nga tanzigyeko ssente. Ate nga bwe nagenda okumulaba naliko akasunguyira. Naye nanzikakkanya ne nsobola okumunnyonnyola n'atambonereza. Nawulira nga nsobola okumwesiga.
Waliwo n'ebikolobero ebirala bingi ebyakolebwanga mu kiseera ekyo byagamba nti byali bimutamye era bw'atyo kwe kusalawo okwegatta ku NRA alwanirira eggwanga lye.
Bwe twanyigirizibwa ennyo neesanga nga bwe nfuna nange we neekwata neetakkuluze nsobola okukikola. Era bwe nafunawo nenyingira mu balwanyi mu bantu Museveni bye yali asomesa. Nawalirizibwa okugenda okukyusa embeera.
Gertrude yakola kinene nnyo okuyunga abantu abayagalanga okwegatta ku NRA okulwanirira Uganda eve mu nfuga eyali embi ennyo mu myaka egyo.
Emmotoka yange eyo nga ginkozesa nenteekamu n'abo abasirikale abagenda mu nsiko ne tubateekako bwe tubatadde okumpi ne batambula ne bagenda. Ekiseera bwe kyatuuka nga sikyasobola kukikola nga okutunoonya kuyitiridde ne ngenda mu nsiko ne mba mukulembeze. Kati ne tuba nga tukulembera ejje eryo nga ndi mmemba wa NRC.
Bingi omukyala ono bye yayitamu mu kiseera kye yabeereramu omuyeekera. Ng'omu ku bayambi ba Museveni ab'oku ntikko, Gertrude Njuba yasimatuka okuttibwa enfunda eziwerako.
Twasisinkana abasirikale ku road block emirundi mingi. Ate oluusi nga twabanga tulina n'emmundu mu mmotoka. Oluusi twabanga tulina abantu be tutwala be tujja ne mu magye. Naye Mukama ng'atuyisaawo mu buyinza bwe omukyala of course nga ntya okunkwata ntya okutta abaana bange abakadde bange ebyo nga bintiisa naye ate at the same time nga n'omulimu gulina okukolwa.
Olulala era babakwata ne mukyala munne Olive Zizinga nga bagezaako okutoloka olwo ng'ensiko bagikooye kyokka Museveni n'abawolereza era bwe batyo ne bawona okuttibwa.
Museveni muntu assaamu abakazi obwesige n'ekitiibwa.
Embeera endala nnyingi ezinyigiriza Njuba ne bakazi banne abalala ze bayitamu mu kiseera eky'obuyeekera.
Anti nga bw'otuuka okusala mayanja olina okusalawo nsale amazzi gano nga ndi mu lugoye luno ngende mu maaso eri ntambule nga ndi mu lubisi oba ndugyemu kubanga abamu baalujjangamu.
Gertrude Njuba kati aweze egy'obukulu 7. Mu kiseera we yagendera mu nsiko yali yakazaala abaana 6. Bba ye omugenzi Sam Kalega Njuba ng'ono yava naye mu ssomero era bombi bakola omulimu munene nnyo mu lutalo olwajjako gavumenti ya Obote. Ng'oggyeko omudaali gw'abazira gwe yafuna, Gertrude yasiimibwa Paalamenti ya Uganda olw'omulimu gwe yakola okulwanirira ensi eno, so ng'era yaweebwa n'ekitiibwa eky'obwa kapiteeni. Ebyobufuzi omukyala ono yabiwummula dda. Mu kiseera kino yavunaanyizibwa ku nsonga z'ettaka mu ofiisi ya President era akola ng'omuwi w'amagezi owa President Museveni ku nsonga z'ebyobufuzi. Hatimana Lugwa, Sekaya, NTV, Akawungezi.
Kwebale nnyo Hatima Nalugwa Sekaya, emboozi ya Captain Gertrude Njuba. Bwe tweyongerayo tulaba abasuubuzi abagamba nti engeri yokka bajeti y'omwaka 2014-2015 egenda okusomwa ku Lwokuna gy'esobola okugasaamu nga ye gavumenti okussa ku bbeeyi y'amafuta erinnyisa kumpi buli kintu. Era baagala eyongera okutereeza enkolagana yaayo n'amawanga gonna agatulinaanye basobola okutumbula ebyenfuna.
Ga 12 omwezi guno bajeti y'ebyenfuna ey'omwaka gwa 2014 ne 2015 yakusomebwa mu mawanga gonna aga East Africa. Yadde nga kino kikolebwa buli mwaka, bingi abantu ab'enjawulo bye basuubira n'abasuubuzi mu ggwanga. Abasuubuzi bagamba baagala bajeti etagenda kunyigiriza omuntu owa bulijjo.
Waliwo ennyo omugaso gw'okusigala nga tutunda nga bye tuleeta tusobola obbiguza ate baliraanwa baffe.
Bano baagala gavumenti eyongere okutereeza enkolagana yaayo n'amawanga ag'okumuliraano ne URA ekendeze ku musolo gwe babinika.
Buli lwe banaayongeza omusolo teri mu Kongo teri mu Sudaani atamanyi gye tubijja. Kiba kitegeeza omutadde agende.
Tugezezzaako nnyo okuteekamu amaanyi okulaba nga tutebenkeza ebyokusuubula naye omusolo gukyatulemesezaamu ekitondotono olw'okuba nti gukyaliko waggulu.
Bano baagala gavumenti eyongere okuteeka essira ku by'obulimi.
Ebbanga lye linaamala ne bwe lisoma bajeti emyaka 10 nga liganya okusoosowaza eby'obulimi ate ne ssente ne ziteekebwayo tetusobola kufuna bajeti y'amakumi.
Obulimi babwongeremu amaanyi.
Bo abamu okuva mu bitongole by'obwannakyewa balumiriza abakulu mu gavumenti okwonoona ssente y'omuwi w'omusolo.
Ze bakozesa okugenda okulambula ennyonyi ze bali baagala okugola abapoliisi ne za projekiti eno ekubiriza abantu kwongera okulya mukene bw'ozigatta ziri obwombi 14 zandikoze eki oba oli awo mu nkozesa kitulaba ndyandibadde ennungamu.
Nga twolekera okusoma bajeti y'omwaka gw'ebyenfuna ogujja, abasuubuzi basuubira nti nno ebbeeyi y'ebintu tegenda kukyuka nnyo ekiri awo, wabula basabirira ekintu kimu ti ebbeeyi y'amafuta ssaako n'omusolo gukendezebwa. Soel Mugabi, NTV, Akawungezi.
mu mizannyo ttiimu z'amawanga ag'enjawulo agagenda okwetaba mu mpaka z'ekikopo ky'ensi yonna ezitandika ku Lwokuna lwa wiiki eno yennyini gatandise dda okutuuka mu ggwanga lya Brazil. Ttiimu ezisoba mu 16 zaagobye dda era nga kisuubirwa nti bwe bunaawungerera enkya ne ttiimu ezisigaddeyo nazo zijja kuba zaatuuse dda.
Bungereza, Bugirimaani, Russia, Bugereeki, Algeria ne bannantamegwa b'empaka zino aba Spain baagobye bumale mu Brazil ku Sunday ewedde. Ttiimu ya Bungereza yagobye mu kibuga Rio de Janeiro nga bava mu kibuga kya America ekya Miami gye babadde bakolera okutendekebwa okusembayo era obukuumi obw'ekitalo ne buweebwa abazannyi embagirawo. Oluvannyuma baatwaliddwa mu disitulikiti ya Sao Conrado gye bagenda okubeeranga. Ttiimu ya Bugirimaani yo yatuukidde mu ngeri ya kuyisa bivvulu era abawagizi baabaaniriza nga bawuuba bendera za Bugirimaani ne Brazil. Bano baakubeera mu kibuga Bahia. Russia ne Algeria nabo baatuuse mu Brazil olunaku lw'eggulo era nga ttiimu endala zisuubirwa okutuuka olwaleero n'enkya. Abazannyi ba Cameroon babadde beediimye ng'entabwe eva ku nsako gye bagamba nti ebadde temala. Wabula ekibiina ekiddukanya omupiira mu ggwanga eryo kimaze ne kyongeza ensako eno era abazannyi ne bakkiriza okugenda mu Brazil. Ng'empaka zino zigibwako akawuwo abazannyi abamanya ng'Omufaransa Frank Ribéry, Omungereza Theo Walcott, Omukolombia Radamel Falcao n'Omuspaana Diego Costa abantu bakubasibwa nnyo mu mpaka zino oluvannyuma lw'okufuna obuvune.
Ate mu liigi ya volleyball ttiimu ya Prison eganyuddwa mu nkuba ekedde okufudemba olunaku lwaleero bwefunye obubonero bw'okumukeeka oluvannyuma lwa Destiny gye babadde balina okwamalagana nayo okulemererwa okulabikako mu kisaawe e Nakawa. Enkuba eno etataganyiza emizannyo emirala mingi wadde nga abategesi bagezezaako okunyigiriza mu kiseera weekeredde. Sampoza abadde luddeeyo.
Ttiimu ya Prisons Volleyball Club ezanyira mu kibinja ekyokubiri ekya liigi y'eggwanga olunaku lwaleero lugigendedde bulungi bwe lunyusa n'obubonero 6. Kino kiddiridde Prisons okwefunira obubonero obw'obwereere ku ginnayo eya Destiny eremereddwa okujja ku kisaawe e Nakawa olw'enkuba ekedde okufudemba. Prisons ezizzaako abakazi Volleyball Club nabo beekubye obugoba 3-1. Yo ttiimu y'ababinywera ba KVC nayo ekiguddeko bwewanguddwa ginnayo eya Jinja Volleyball Club obugoba 3 ku bwereere. Abalala abawanguddwa mu mizannyo gya leero egitataganyiziddwa ennyo enkuba babadde aba Matrix Volleyball Club abakubiddwa aba Thunders Volleyball Club obugoba 3 ku bwereere. Olw'omukago olujja Sam Mpoza, NTV akawungeezi.
Tukyagenda mu maaso ne NTV akawungeezi naye olwakadde munzikirize mbasiibule. Waliwo ebintu olumu bye tukola nga tulowooza nti tuzannya naye ne bivaamu akabasa. Kankulekera ebifaananyi by'abantu bano naye nkulabula nti tobigezaako ewaka gy'obeera. Musube bulungi tusisinkane nate enkya.
NTV, turning on your world.
Sometimes children have amazing ideas, but they can lead to tough stains. And for tough stains, there's new Omo Fast Action. Its super fast cleaning technology removes stains fast. New Omo, no one removes tough stains faster.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
Hey, seriously, I thought that we are friends.
What's the matter? We are buddies.
No, you didn't tell me that you have a problem.
Which problem?
Not the one I'm to next to Jama.
But what's that?
ki gwofuna otya balance kuganama.
You bring out the best in me.
New and improved Nice and Lovely Body Lotion. The 24-hour skin moisturizer that's your skin's best friend.
The best in me.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shopping. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Will wake up and there won't be time for you to do the things that you've always wanted to do. My advice, do them now, starting with watching at Morning at NTV. My name is Brian Mlondo. The rest of the crew is ready to make sure that your Tuesday is jump-started. Well, let's start it with the question of the day. Good morning. Well, it's all about the World Cup. 2 days to the biggest tournament in history, and everyone is getting ready. Some Ugandans are flying out already. So the rest of you are not flying out. You could walk away with a mag for Morning at NTV. All you have to do is answer that simple question. Head over to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Like the page. We have made 100,000 followers on Twitter. Let's do that for our Morning at NTV Twitter too, at Morning at NTV. You can also follow us on our individual handles at MBGold2, at Joel Senyunyu, at Kasate, at Mebkeb, at Dakaba Chigongo. Don't forget to tag at NTV Uganda. Mabel is standing by at the NTV studios to start us with the stories that are shaping the headlines this morning. And when we come back, we'll be ready to make sure we look at what's making the stories in the papers. Good morning, Mabel.
Good morning, Brian. Thank you very much. When I was coming in, I saw lots of birds flying above the Serena, and it seems you've chased them away with all your lights and cameras. But wherever you're watching us from, welcome to the show. We'll start by taking a look at the stories making headlines. The police upped their game ahead of the world's biggest footballing tournament. A hospital that serves over 8 districts has not had running water for 8 years, and experts insist the budget target was not fully achieved.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Once again, a very warm welcome. I am Mabel Kebirunji. The World Cup excitement has already caught on. In a couple of hours, focus will switch to the pitch, drawing in large crowds. But for next month, the next month or so, the police will have to up their game as the public too are urged to be more vigilant. This is against the backdrop of concerns about a terrorist attack.
In 2010, more than 70 people were killed in a twin bomb attack on Kampala. It was the night of the World Cup finals. Police reports indicated later that the hosts of the venues had not been vigilant. This week, as the World Cup season starts, as Brazil gears up, and as Ugandans make plans for the games, security agencies are leaving no chances for attacks. Police carried out an abrupt operation to check and perhaps even put on guard hosts of venues frequented for these games.
What at those gates? Yes, 2 days, 2 nights. That's why you need your weight. Do what I'm saying. If I come here on Friday and I get when those 2 people are there, I'm going to arrest you.
Other venues just did not have the adequate security. After the lesson in the 2010 World Cup finals, the Uganda police this time round are vigilant and they are moving around to make sure that all places that are going to show the World Cup this season are security alert. However, they say it's not only their duty, but everyone's.
Everybody must be checked. Everybody must get these gadgets, the hand props and the walk through.
For me, as the owner of this place, I'm ready and I'm ready to work, to cooperate with police officers whenever anything they give me the command.
This operation will continue tomorrow and more checks will be carried out during the football season. Solomon Kawesa, NTV.
A hospital that serves over 8 districts has not had running water for 8 years. Irene Namialo visited the hospital in Chiboga and tells of patients who are more exposed to disease inside the hospital because of poor hygiene.
There are taps and sinks in almost every corner of the hospital, but this does not mean that they are ever put to use, at least not for the purpose they were intended for. They have learned to make do with buckets of water collected from outside the hospital premises.
So this is where we're supposed to be washing before you make an operation, before you do an operation. But as you can test, there is no running water.
8 years ago, the pump supplying water to the hospital broke down. It was never fixed. The color of the facilities perhaps tell the story better of taps long forgotten. Each patient now carries in their own water. They buy a jerrycan of water at 500 shillings. If they do not come with their own water, they walk more than a kilometer to the next water source.
When
the authorities find us in a dirty environment, they tell us to improvise and clean the place with our own water.
This is the labor ward in Chiboga Hospital, one of the places that critically need running water all the time. But like you can see, this tap has been out of service for a long time.
Procedures at the theatre are delayed sometimes. Like most other sections of the hospital, they cannot do without water.
Because you need to have water, like to clean the theatre before or after the operation. So that on us, and it leads to cost in terms of lives, because you can lose either babies or the patient.
The equipment here is as old as the hospital, which was commissioned in 1980. This operating table has lost its strength over the years. It becomes especially tricky in cases of fistula. The hospital has never had any repair work carried out.
Why you need tilting of the patient, it's called training back, but it's basically tilting the patient. Find that this bed cannot do that. So you cannot make that operation very well. Yet the first operation, the first attempt is very important.
The Ministry of Health signed contracts with several companies to renovate and expand 47 public health facilities across the country. These include 2 regional referral hospitals, 17 general hospitals and 27 health center fours. The project, worth 300 billion shillings, is funded by the World Bank through a loan to the Ugandan government. Irene Namialo, NTV.
The 2013-14 national budget was projected to be financed through an 11.2 trillion resource envelope, a target experts insist was not fully achieved. Among key sectors of the economy that had large allocations planned for were works, education, agriculture and health, which remain in the spotlight. In this flagship segment of our budget features focusing on the 2013-14 fiscal year, several independent experts share with us their insights on this financial year's performance.
President Yoweri Museveni told the country in the State of the Nation report last week that the agricultural sector, the mainstay for most Ugandans, registered a 1.5% growth over the past year.
As I keep telling you, the agriculture of Uganda is still handicapped by the 68% of the households that were still in subsistence farming according to the census of 2002. If all these homesteads were converted to commercial farming, the size of agriculture would be much bigger.
But a reaction from the National Farmers Federation is that this crucial sector, funded with 394 billion shillings, continues to post under 23% in earnings to the economy, which is negligible, owing to a wide range of factors.
A good budget should address the issue of market, the issue of input, accessibility to the market, easy access to input, like seeds, like implements, easy access to information, easy access to extension services.
Relatedly, independent researchers at the Economic Policy Research Center argue that fewer lessons and weak implementation are to be blamed for the dismal sector performance.
It's still struggling. We would have expected more impact from the agricultural sector, but when you look at the growth rates from the agricultural sector, not really so impressive. And to me, I attribute this to the piecemeal way of addressing the issues that are affecting the sector. The farmers need a package, not only just giving them one input and you think that it is going to make wonders.
Still in the 2013-2014 national budget allocations, works secured 2.4 trillion shillings, earmarked for the construction of over 1,500 kilometers of gravel, tarmac and maintenance works.
We managed to complete the road from Nyakahita to Kazo to Kamwenge. It was completed. We completed the road from Bujiri to Malaba to Busia. It was completed this financial year. We were able to complete the road from Fort Poto to Bundibujo. That road in the hills, it was also completed. We are progressing well on the road from Mbarara to Katuna. We've done over 65%.
Even then, the multi-trillion shilling road sector reports that with an existing balance of over 300 billion shillings under its maintenance board, the performance of the local contractors has been disappointing.
One is mainly underperformance by the local contractors. If you award a contract and you expect somebody to consume about 1 billion in the financial year on that project, and then he consumes only 300 million, then in the end you remain with about 700 million not absorbed.
In the exiting national budget, 930 billion shillings was allocated to the health sector, with activities such as strengthening health systems, equipping and stocking facilities being ranked high for action.
Is government commitment, not just in policy or human resources, but actual financial resources.
Education is yet another key sector which was allocated 1.8 trillion shillings in the current financial year, 2013-2014. Among others, this amount was intended at achieving skills development.
Vocational and tertiary education. We can have somebody finish primary 7 and go to a technical school and become a bricklayer, a mason, a plumber, a carpenter, a welder, and that level and go up.
Finance Minister Maria Chiwanuka will be in the complex later this week to unveil the next financial year's budget. However, concern will remain on how the sectors of education and health in particular did perform compared to energy and roads. Reina Ojan.
City traders are worried that little will change in the 2014-15 budget that will be read in 3 days' time. The traders want this year's budget to ease trade in the East African community and the Uganda Revenue Authority to reduce on import tax.
On the 12th of this month, all the 5 countries in the East African Community bloc will be reading the national budget simultaneously to anxiously waiting nationals. Although this is routinely done every year, hopes are always raised among citizens, especially among the trading community. The traders now say they don't expect a friendly but a realistic one.
It is unfortunate at times the incentives and favors that government brings in the budgetary proposals favor the big ones.
The traders want the government to continue strengthening trading ties with the neighboring countries in the East African bloc and taxes revised on some import commodities.
I don't know whether the minister is not going to make a budget that responds to the crisis that we have in the region. Sudan is at war. Rwanda taxes on most of the imports have reduced. Kenyan imports have reduced.
We expect the government at least to reduce a bit of the taxation, mostly to these goods which are imported and some which are being manufactured from here.
The traders also want the government to prioritize the agricultural sector.
The more the agriculturists have disposable income, the better for us as a trading community.
Government tukwatizeeko mu balimi baffe baberenga ebirime babalimye babinonyeza ku butali.
Meanwhile, a section of civil society activists have condemned the manner in which the government has used public funds in the 2013-2014 financial year.
Instances where government entities like the Uganda Police Force spent a whopping 10 billion shillings to inspect jets, and Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries spent 4 billion in the financial year 2013-14 to teach people how to eat mukene, silverfish, don't only indicate extravagant and wasteful spending, but are also derogatory.
As we draw closer to the 12th of this month, when the national budget will be read, there is little hope from the traders in downtown Kampala that commodity prices will change. However, they are only praying that the tax on fuel is at least reduced. Sohail Mugari, NTV.
You are watching Morning at NTV this Tuesday, the 10th of June. We shall now cross over to Joel and Brian to find out what is making news in the headlines. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Brian.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mabel. I think while we're having the press review, because
you're really taunting.
I'm really taunting. Whoever is at the studio should get you some coffee. It's very cold up here at the rooftop, and we are, doing this with some very, very hot coffee this morning. We're going to be looking at some of the stories that are making headlines in the Daily Monitor and the Press and Red Pepper this morning. Stay with us. Well, the coffee must be already doing things there.
Since you're telling me because chai is not working.
The Daily Monitor and the Press Review. All right, good morning, John.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
The other Musketeer is not here with us, feeling sick.
I wonder what shenanigans is up to. He'll tell us when he returns.
When he returns, I don't know what he did.
Yourself.
Yes, I don't know what they did to him.
He could have undergone some minor surgery.
Yeah.
For like the third time.
He was inspired. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. I did try. Well, I didn't do it. They did it to me when I think I was a week old. My mother tells me, which is a good thing. It's a good thing for cleanliness, as opposed to what they talk about, that it helps in the fight against HIV. Maybe it does, but look, I know places where people have gone for it, and then they go on rampage, and they are going to die.
Well, I don't know what you're referring to, but whatever Simon is up to, he'll explain those. Joel, I want to start with the Red Pepper this morning. A screaming headline, Mbabazi resignation speech leaks.
You see, you want to read some of these things with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
Is it actually there?
I have read the story, and it is actually there, because yesterday the
What's
same
standing
paper,
out in that letter? It is there already.
Insiders say Mbabazi will tell the nation that there's need for leaders to be honest and fulfill their pledges.
Okay, I hope he's telling that to himself too.
His boss has not fulfilled the pledges.
He's been with his boss for the last, I don't know how many decades. So I hope he takes responsibility
it took the
as well.
same number of years for Bidandi to realize that
No,
he
he
needed to get out.
It did not take the same number of
Bidandi
years.
did not start PPPP, what, 5 years ago? No. Bidandi was there, ate with the...
No, but you see, look, even when he was a part of the system, he had certain concerns, you know, that he kept raising, and a few others that they kept raising certain issues, Amanya Mchega and the rest, you know, until they got to a point where they realized, look, this is not going to happen. Right Honorable Mbabazi has been in cahoots with His Excellency the President. He's been his right-hand boy, blue-eyed boy, like, you know, the media likes to say. So they are one and the same. If there is any responsibility to be taken, they should take it together. You see, this idea of you get disgruntled because of something like the Chankwazi resolution and so on, then you come out as the clean person, it does not quite work. Ugandans are not that gullible anymore. They have their eyes open.
Are you sure we are not that gullible?
Okay, maybe a good number of us are, but there are some of us who are able to decipher things as they really are.
This same paper yesterday released a cabinet that had been worked out between Mbabazi
I looked at that
and the opposition and calls it
I thought,
called cabinet, where OHT Charles Maiga
be the vice president,
yes.
then I think Otuno the prime minister, Mbabazi the president,
yes.
Besigye first deputy premier,
and for me, I'm
actually
thinking
Mao prime minister.
And somehow first ladies seem to be very well suited for Minister of Karamoja. Hope Mwesigye also being posted to Karamoja.
Well, I realize there's some NRM people that were kept in that apparent cabinet.
Yes, and strong NRM, like the First Lady Janet Kataha was going to be kept at Minister of Gender. Looking at this whole cabinet, I see a replication of what Amama is serving. Is there going to be...
You're not taking this too seriously.
In case, well, I will not take anything face value, so yeah.
It's an interesting lineup if it ever does happen. This looks like a pipe dream. I'm not too sure that can happen, but it's an interesting lineup. We see a good number of the old guard
Sejusa bouncing back,
being fused with a number of these newer ones. I don't know. Hopefully it can deliver. Looking at the Daily Monitor this morning now, US is ready to work with Kutesa at UN. Interesting. The lizard here says, I can hear him humming "Storm is over." You know that song? Storm is over.
Is that what Kutesa has been going through? Or he has been guarded by the system for a very long time. He's a very wealthy man, and nothing has touched him in the past few years.
And look, being president of the UN General Assembly, that does not add much tangible value, as it were, but the clouds that comes with it. You know, this year, 1 year posting, it adds a lot to one's CV, as it were.
Won't it do anything for Uganda, chairing, you know, being president for the UN?
Not much tangibly, because what are the roles of the president of the UN General Assembly? You know, preside over those meetings and so on. You don't call the shots as it
Doesn't
were.
it add anything, Joel? We were the secretary, at one point we chaired the UN Security, we were a member on the UN Security Council, and it did something for us, where Nduguru Hakana Rugunda was always, you know, flying out of the country to go and chair these meetings.
In as far as adding some kind of intangible value, if the person represents us well anyway, you know, it adds some clout, if you like, to Uganda, and we get to hobnob with the powers that be internationally. So it could add some kind of semblance of recognition, if you like, for Uganda, that kind of thing, but nothing really tangibly. As you should know, the UN does not have much teeth. If they do if they do have those teeth, they don't bite that much, you know, because when the US says we're not doing this, the UN can't do much, you know. I look at our friend Ban Ki-moon, and I feel sorry for him sometimes. Sometimes he wants certain things done, but it cannot happen.
Well, I actually think sometimes he even says a couple of statements just because he has to. While we are following the expulsion of Russia from the G8, probably Uganda can start its journey to the G8.
It's not impossible, by the way. I laugh just because of the way things are currently, you know, but it's not impossible. Uganda is going to get better. Without a doubt.
I think, Joel, we have the capacity to get to, you know, the G8 one day, because
we do.
I think we have slowly planted ourselves in places where we are relevant. I love the fact that we are members on the Security Council. Sam Kutesa, despite the storm that is going through, and recently Ugandans were blocked at the American embassy for, you know, questioning the UN for appointing such a gentleman who allegedly has a lot of corruption cases attached to him. And
well, there you have it. The Daily Monitor also reports the president here says the army is to take charge of government projects. Let me just read here. The president says NAD's people have eaten enough money, and he will therefore deploy soldiers under General Salim Saleh at every sub-county to supervise agricultural projects. Look, I have a problem when I see the army infiltrating literally every facet of our country's society. What
do you want the president to do when the army is somehow seems to be the only institution that will bring some semblance of
But you see, what's the role of the army? The role of the army is security related, you know. They have done
guarding your money.
A fairly good job. We have pacified much of our neighborhood. We are in Somalia, we are in South Sudan, you know, and the like, and we have done.
When you the civilians fail to be accountable.
But you see, there should be some kind of procedural structures that ensure that civilians deliver, because you see, we don't want to remove the army from the barracks to come and do what the civilians should be doing, you know. His Excellency the President always complains, for example, about his ministers. They don't deliver, and we hear him a great deal lambasting them at functions and that kind of thing. And I'm thinking, Your Excellency, you should be the one taking responsibility. You hire those ministers. For starters, fire them. When they goof up, you don't say this minister goofed up. No, you take responsibility. You know, I've seen our MD, Agi Konde, many times, you know, when there's one or two bloopers, she takes responsibility, as opposed to it is this producer or the other camera person. No, that is what leadership is. You take responsibility.
So well, the army is now handling the ID project, and while it's being very slow, even the critics seem to say, well, since army Erimuchintu, we are likely to see actually deliverers. Are we trusting? Is the president finally falling back to his men and saying you're the only ones who can actually do something like this? Because in the army, it's about the order. You do as you're told. If you find out you're stealing money, you will pay.
Something I think we need to extricate ourselves from, because you see, our history as a country with the army has been that the army was a part of literally everything in this country, and that is why things began to go wrong. You don't want to have that happen. You know, we should empower the civilian population. We should have systems in place. You see, when systems are in place, I don't think countries like Ghana and others, Botswana, that have working systems, it is because the people there are too morally upright and that kind of thing. No. It's because there is a system. When the system is flawed, it does not matter how morally upright you might be. You can take advantage of the lacunas therein, you know. So if you have a working system, you will play by the rules. We need to do that.
Playing the devil's advocate, I probably want to see what the army will do when it comes to these things, of course.
But you see, even if they do a good job, you know, ultimately, even if at the end of the day they do an exquisite job, we'll give them credit. But you see, what we are saying is, can we empower the population? Because for how long shall we get the army from the barracks to come and run, I don't know, this project, NADS, ID, and so on? No, let's have structures in place. Let them work. If the ID issue has flopped time and again, can you for starters bring to book those that flopped it? Money disappeared. You know, it didn't grow wings and just fly. Still in the Daily Monitor, floods bring Kampala to a standstill. Now look, for as long as we keep, you know, putting structures in every water catchment area, this story is going to keep happening again and again.
Joel, well, in the words of Simon Kasate, you keep lambasting everything that happens. But
you see, is it for the right reasons?
The debate has always been about development versus environmental protection, and isn't it time that Uganda now go to a place where we actually have to plan the green places in the city? We have to ultimately say, okay, the wetlands are there, but we need buildings, we need all the structures up in place. Okay, let us literally start planting green areas, but we can't waste a huge space. If, say, the whole of this Serena was a wetland, we have to destroy it and keep a, you know, Serena has done a good job keeping the green here.
You're not saying Serena is a wetland, but look, see the results it's bringing us, because you see, they usually say the end justifies the means, but you see, putting up nice buildings, I don't know, you look at Garden City, looks awesome, Nakumata Wessex looks awesome, and many others all over town, you know, At the end of the day, buildings might not tantamount to development. There's a difference between growth and development.
The Western world has done that. And while they are having numerous conferences,
they don't have this flooding that we do.
Why can't we start that? When will we ever get to a middle class, country?
I agree.
If we are not able to take some of the risks, we are taking the risk on anti-homosexuality bills.
And I think we should.
Why can't we take the risk here and then try and start the measures? Now we are putting a building but trying to also cover.
Very good question, because if you're going to have a building, it's got no parking, it's very poorly planned, if planned at all. Excuse me. When it rains, the whole place gets flooded and so on. Then the building becomes a big inconvenience to the rest of everybody.
Well, Joel, one of the locally owned textile industries, after the I was really frustrated when AGOA collapsed. Is it still even in existence?
Well, AGOA is a youth project, but look, we've had a good number of projects in this country failing. Someone would think we have failed them intentionally. I think we need to believe a lot more in Uganda. And for that matter, Ugandan entrepreneurs, we need to believe a lot more in homemade stuff. You know, you'll find somebody will be more excited about buying a shirt that's made in the US as opposed to one that's made here. You know, even though it might be better.
The ones here have poor quality. I've seen some of
even
the
when
stuff
it's
that
better done,
Ugandans produce,
yes, without a doubt.
I wouldn't waste my money.
Without a doubt, there are others that are
something.
not well done. You know, but there are others that are well done. But you see, this whole creature, like your friend likes to call it, we tend to think whatever is imported is really good, you know, when compared to what we have locally.
Joel,
we need to be
Nyanza is facing closure because they cannot be able to pay taxes, and so they are seeking, they are requesting government to give them a 25% reduction on VAT.
We do that for foreign investors.
5 billion shillings.
We do that for the so-called foreign investors. Why can't we do it for Ugandan-made entrepreneurs? You know, what's good for the goods should be good for the Uganda. We should believe in Uganda a lot more. Now, CSO's fault government over budgeting discipline. The budget is going to be read the day after tomorrow. You should look out for that and see what will be there for you. And civil society organizations are saying, look, we need to have certain disciplines. You know, this business of supplementary budget every now and again, you know, in billions of shillings, it's I have
extensively read about the budget, Joel, and some of the increments. You know, I think the government is obviously going to do numerous increments in the next year. But again, it comes to, like you said, can the systems be able to follow up on the monies that have been given to the different departments and be able to account? The president was accused of not even talking about education, talking about our military engagements when he was doing the State of the Nation address, and who is going to follow up on that money?
We should build our systems. We should build systems, because you see, for as long as systems work, you can trust systems. It's very difficult to trust individuals, because individuals can every now and again, you know, have certain bloopers as they operate and that kind of thing. But you see, when you have a system that works, you can have the devil's cousin in that place, but ensure that he does a good job. Why? Because the systems do work. Now, Daily Monitor reports that King O is to fast over Kingdom split. We are told he's going to fast for a period of 1 week. He's disgruntled because Toro Kingdom is being sliced up, if you like, into portions. You know, Renzururu. Now there's this other one. It's got an interesting name that is coming up, and he's frustrated that His Excellency is partitioning his kingdom.
Well, with all due respect, I think the king should fast for 40 days.
For 40 days?
1 week is not enough. These things are tight.
The Bible says that some things cannot go save for prayer and fasting. But well, we wait to see whether it will.
On to more exciting things, Joel. Government is planning to engage Rotarians in implementing projects. I'm very privileged to be part of Rotary. And I know for us, first of all, Tetuina Bisanja, you serve your year, you're out. And the next one comes, and we are very accountable people. We deliver. Is it time for us now to engage such people who will actually do the job?
I think we should. The other day we were talking about 40 Smiles. You know, people that come together and they begin to implement work on certain causes, which is a good thing. And I think government should begin to pick a leaf. You know, when Rotarians are all over the place, building schools, health centers, and changing lives out there, government should be finding out how this guy is doing it. You know, partner with them if they can. However, that does not mean that government should abdicate its responsibility of doing some of these things and really getting them to individuals who are very well organized and that kind of thing. I think individuals, 40 Smiles, Rotary, I don't know what else, can supplement government work, you know, but systems, we should build systems, and government should be able to deliver on its services and not just say, well, what have you done for your country? Even though we need to work for this country as individuals before we run to government to do certain things for us.
All right, now we can also get more stories from Mabel that are shaping the headlines on the international scene. But of course, we'll be talking more World Cup also in our sports segment. Ghana finally, is it Ghana or Nigeria? Finally sending the team to the World Cup after saying if you don't pay our allowances, we will not fly to the World Cup. African teams always have drama
surrounding money.
Yes,
I wanted to read this before crossover to Mabel. I just found it interesting. This is by Ethan Mussolini. 4 ways to experience work-life balance. It says 1, do the work you enjoy. 2, create me time. 3, drop activities that sap your energy. 4, create time for what matters. I hope that works for somebody this morning.
Awesome. Well, of course, you can get a copy of the Daily Monitor and the Red Pepper this morning and catch the stories with, of course, the usual pull out of the rainbow for our children. And crossing over to Mabel, the headlines on the international scene.
Thank you very much, Brian. And it's actually Cameroon. It's not Ghana. And we did talk about that briefly yesterday. We shall continue to talk about it further today with Dakaba Chigongo during the sports segment. Well, making news here. Yesterday we did talk about a couple that were killed, a couple of policemen actually, that were killed in the US. And a third person was actually killed trying to stop the gunmen. It was actually another couple, a killer couple that went on rampage in a town in the US, in Las Vegas actually, and now we see the community coming together. Very sad story there. Also on the CNN page, Sterling is to fight the Clippers sale. He says the deal is off and he's going to continue with his lawsuit. And this is something that we had kind of predicted yesterday, that he wouldn't just let it go that easy. And moving on to the Sky page. Campaigners demand an end to war zone rapes. A meeting will be held with leaders from more than 140 countries. This meeting will be held in England and it aims to end rape, which is affecting over 220 million people every year. Now, it's interesting to see the places that they were concentrating on. There's Bosnia up here, there's Syria there, there's Egypt, and guess what? Northern Uganda also appears on this map on the BBC World page. Apparently, there is a lot of rape happening in this country. This global summit will be hosted by Angelina Jolie and the English Foreign Secretary, William Hague. More news, more stories making news in the BBC Africa page. We have Sisi here vowing to fight for Egypt security. He is the current president-elect of the country. Now, Brazil transport workers want to go on strike. So they're supposed to have gone on strike yesterday, but they have actually pushed their strike to Wednesday. They caused so much traffic chaos in the city, and now the union is still trying to come to terms with the government, because it will be unbelievable if the World Cup actually begins and the trains are not working because the workers are on strike. Also on the BBC News page, we have a picture here of the leaders of Sweden, Germany, Holland and UK meeting at a mini summit amid controversy over Jean-Claude's bid to head the European Commission. Another sad story coming in from Nigeria on the BBC page. Boko Haram has abducted some 20 women, and they say they were loaded on two vans at gunpoint and driven away to an unknown location in Borno State. And we have Sierra Leone here. We talked about this last week. The Ebola virus has caused more death, and it doubles to 12 in a week now. It was in Guinea last week, and now, you know, it's continuing in Sierra Leone. We have here Iran saying that it needs a 6-month extension of nuclear talks because the time they have been given has not been enough for them. And that's all we had for you in the press review. The big story will continue after this break.
some business.
I came to apologize. I have no right to interfere in your lives.
I've eliminated the only evidence that links me to Ivan Chinawa's death.
So you didn't have to kill another person.
Doesn't look like I've got anything to hide, Lily. Just go ahead.
Victoria, how is it like to work for Mansfield Agazi?
Blood seemed to matter not. Blood? Yeah, blood.
I'm responsible for your father's death.
Did you know that more than 6 million Ugandans use the fastest growing media in the world? In fact, more than 5,000 join Facebook every week, thousands follow trends on Twitter, and many more use several other social media platforms. So, are you thinking smart about the power of online media platforms? Let You Go Uganda offer you business professional social media training, strategic online concept development, and effective online advertising solutions.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulundo.
Thank you for watching Morning at NTV this day, Tuesday the 10th of June. We shall now cross over to Joel for the big story. Good morning, Joel. Whom do you have and what will you be talking about today?
Good morning, Mabel. With me is Florence Narimba, our health reporter. Want to decipher this nodding syndrome issue that has debilitated people in northern Uganda especially. And look, this disease has actually been around for quite a while, since the 1960s. It's just of late that it has come to light. It is eating up people, unfortunately. We need to find ways around it. We'll discuss this when we get back.
This road was to lead us to the home of a boy we last met 2 years ago. We found Kabila struggling with nodding syndrome in January 2012 and watched as he improved in May the same year. Our hopes were high as we retraced our journey. Finally, we came to a stop in the compound of his father, Agustino Chiti. A family of about 30 people, most of them children, live here, but it's almost devoid of all life. The boy of interest is nowhere in sight. So is his father, and we call out again. It is then that from all corners they start coming out, but without the person of interest, Kabila, who should now be 14 or 15 years old. This boy in a yellow t-shirt responded to our queries with the phrase, Kabila pay, twice. His brother Odongo Joffre interpreted it for me to mean Kabila was no more.
Kabila died?
Yes.
Kabila?
Kabila is dead.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
Kabila? Small. I came here last time. You remember me?
Yes, I remember you.
I interviewed Kabila. Kabila danced for us here when he had mangoes in his pocket. He danced. We played the music for him. He's dead?
Kabila is dead.
Still in disbelief, we asked to see Kabila's grave. It bore no markstone. Just 2 sticks at either side of the soil-mounded grave. Kabila was one of 25 children brought from Kitgum to Kampala in Mulago by woman MP Beatrice Anywa to show Ugandans that this syndrome was ravaging the children in the north. He got adequate care then as well. So why is a boy who was doing better fighting nodding syndrome in this grave?
Kabila yantu chakame.
He nodded until he got exhausted.
No, I don't do boy ayadom. Down like that, like this, like that, like this. And that damn.
The frequency of nodding became so much until he died.
It was the 10th day of September 2013. We were 8 months late. In May 2012, Kabila was a picture of perfect health. Around these trees, he danced with mangoes in his pockets. So we thought all was better because we had seen him in January the same year. and was worse, but he had improved in 4 months' time. So it is unfortunate to hear that he passed on. He's the third in this family to die because of nodding syndrome. His sister was one of the first victims of nodding syndrome in 2009. Joyce Labo fell into this family woe after getting a seizure, symptomatic of almost anyone with the syndrome. In March this year, Kabila's older brother Michael Kidega also got seizures.
Fall in the water.
Sorry for your loss. Was he taking his medicine?
He was taking his medicine.
In fact, Geoffrey says that Kabila had just collected his month's drug supply from Okidi Health Center 3 the day he died. They're not so far from the facility, and the bonus is that their aunt works there too. Accessibility to the drugs recommended by the Ministry of Health, which only help to manage symptoms of the disease, like seizures, is not an issue. More than 10 other family members, not older than 16, have nodding syndrome. However, there is no well to worry about anymore.
When did you get the borehole?
Yeah, they got the LWF later on.
Nowadays it's better for you to get water?
Yes.
You no longer go to the well?
They're not going there because all the students, they have a disease. If they go there, they fall in the water.
Most were met in 2012, but their siblings' graves, visible in the compound every day, bring no comfort to living. The parents are resigned to the fact that one by one their children will end up here too, while what is killing them continues to baffle scientists. Florence Nalimba, NTV Nyokidi Village, Kitgum District.
A heart-wrenching story right there, covered by Florence Naruimba, our health reporter, who joins me this morning so we can try and understand a little about this nodding syndrome that's been around for a while. She tells me it's an NTD, a neglected tropical disease. Good morning, Florence.
Good morning, Joel. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Good to have you here. I saw that story, and along the way I got traumatized. Tell me about that boy, Kabila.
Yeah, Kabila, that one, a real sad story. You know, because this is a guy I've been following since 2012 in January. I found out he was brought in March, same year, to Kampala. He was already on the bus by Anywa. Then he goes back. I go back to Kitgum and check on him in May 2012. He's fine, he's doing better, because they're telling us that they had given out the medicines to help them, stop the seizures, just relief, just some relief, honestly. Because it's a disease whose cure is not known, whose cause is not known. So, you just give someone medicine to help them, get by. And, the boy was really getting by. One time I went back to Kitgum, actually this very year, to bury, my friend's mom. She died, a colleague we work with. And then I was like, let me go and check on Kabila. So we went, but, well, we couldn't access the path, the car we had. So we just came back. Now that was February. Not knowing that the boy had died even in September 2013. So that's why when this time round I went back, because I'd insisted that I have to do nodding syndrome, I have to do a follow-up. And there is a boss of mine, Kato, he insisted, I was like, Florence, you have to go back. I was like, yes, I have to go back. These are people who are neglected. So I go back, and I cover almost all districts, and we are practically missing out on this kid. I'm like, no. Before we go back to Kampala, connect to Gulu for our last interview, I have to pass by Kitgum, Okidi. I go back, and yeah, this boy in yellow, I can't forget him, he was in a yellow t-shirt, he tells me, Kabila pay, twice actually, I can't forget that. So I'm like, what is pay? Has he gone to the well, has he gone to the what? His brother understands English, comes out and gives it to me straight. So yeah, it hurt. I'm a journalist, but yeah, I'm a human being first of all,
Without a doubt. As we cover these stories, we have got a human face to, the kind of work that we do. Very unfortunate there. You talk about little is known about this disease. What do we know about it? People might be flummoxed to realize that this disease has actually been around since the 60s, especially in Sudan.
Exactly.
What do we know about nodding?
Because actually it was first discovered in Tanzania, then South Sudan, some suspected cases in Liberia, but not so many. But what do we know about this disease? What do you know about this disease? You, Joel.
Interesting. You're asking me?
Yeah.
I thought on this segment, I am the one who gets to ask the questions and my guest answers.
In this instance, we have to ask the people, what do you know about nodding syndrome, honestly? You know,
I think what we know is whatever it's symptomatic of nodding. That is why it's called nodding syndrome. You know, of course, the scientists keep, you know, trying to guess about this.
Exactly.
Is the other,
guessing,
that kind of
guessing.
thing.
That's what we are at. Guessing. Most scientists do not know. They are baffled. Even as a journalist, I go there and I watch these people, and I'm also baffled. You know, it's a disease which has beat science for so long.
But it's been around since the 60s. It can't be that. Is it that we've just neglected it? It can't
exactly,
be that
like I told you,
it
it's
is
an
about.
NTD, neglected tropical disease. There are so many of them, including even river blindness. You know, people just forget that these people exist. They don't care. It's just affecting a section of people. We don't want to know. You know. But these are guys, they are brothers, they're up there in the north suffering. I guess when it comes to Kampala, that's when people start caring enough.
You talk about location. It seems to be in, you know, selected places. Northern Uganda, we've not seen here it in Central. Well, one would argue that every time there's a State of the Nation address or the budget speech, you see our ministers and MPs nodding. I am not too sure that is nodding disease.
I hate that, by the way. People who think that people who just fall off and sleep, that's nodding syndrome. It's not a joking matter. But we always talk about it.
It brings out the issue of we do not know what it is, you know, because when you see somebody nodding, the pictures that we see on the stories you,
and then you call that nodding.
See them nodding.
So would you compare these ministers to those kids?
I don't know. Some of them need to go for checking. But look, tell me, why do we know why it is in certain places and not in others?
Well, they've established that at least the likely cause, something which has been narrowed down on, is the black fly. The one which causes river blindness. At least it resides in most rivers up north, and those are the areas, the clusters where those people are staying. That is a likely cause, but even then they're not sure that it's the one. You know, there have been so many causes over the years, suspected, of course. Even the communities, they suspect their own. Like I said in one of my stories, they think it's witchcraft. Then some were like, wow, when it goes to the head and someone nods, maybe someone put something in their hair, and you know, but still there are also parts of that is affecting only them. And that's why even people in the north say, like, you can't blame them for saying that maybe it's those relief aid seeds were getting, maybe it's the chemicals left behind, but those were ruled out by CDC. You know, the investigators really who have been working on this, they've ruled out so many causes, including witchcraft. Has nothing to do with witchcraft. One time, I'll tell you a funny story. A guy who knows where I stay from the north came and knocked on my door. I was in Chebando. He came and told me, Florence, the formalities, and he told me that, you know what, those people have turned away from God. They are being punished. But can you imagine now, if we have such beliefs, how are we going to, you know, get to the root of this problem? Someone comes and tells you that this is a God issue. Those people have neglected God. They are being punished for their crimes, whatever they did, those atrocities. You know?
And I keep wondering about the thugs we have here in Kampala, that some of them dress very smartly, they've got titles before their names.
Yeah, but these are innocent children, because as you know, it mostly affects children between 5 and 15, which is also not yet determined, but even the 2-year-olds are affected. Actually, even younger than 2.
18-year-olds and 19-year-olds in your story?
Yeah, that's because they grow up. This thing has become chronic.
So somebody can actually grow with it for years.
Exactly. If you don't die, you're growing with it. But what kills them is the fact that when they get those seizures, the fits, they can, as long as you're near water, which is all over there,
fire and so on,
they'll fall in, they'll die. Especially drowning takes them so fast. Fires keeps them in the treatment centers, by the way, because at least the government set up some treatment centers to help, you know, where they pick their drugs if they fall in fires, because those are what are keeping the treatment centers really busy. Parents are negligent. But sometimes you don't want to.
We're actually tying these kids onto trees.
Oh yes, because
the kids
go
out and dig.
Yeah, they have to go out and dig, and some of the kids, Bambi, they wander off. Some of the kids wander off, and they get lost.
What kind of medication does it respond to? Is there anything that precedes it? You talk about Kabila had some medication and he had kind of recuperated.
Because of the day he died, he had just picked his drugs, honestly. What they give them is just symptomatic treatment. They treat whatever the person has. If you have malnutrition, they'll give you plum peanut that helps you really regain your strength, you know, go back into it. And then the medicines that help them, you know, stop that nodding at least and those seizures. They give them antiepileptics because they suspect this to be a form of epilepsy, you know. So they just give them soothing drugs, you know, just something to get you by, you know. Something just to get you by. But of course, you're there waiting. It has become chronic.
Of recent, government took about 10 victims to the US to just take samples of them and try and establish what this is about? What prognosis is there? Are there any results yet?
Yeah, actually, the 10 people actually.
They returned.
They returned in May on the 26th. They were taken. About 3 had nodding syndrome. Others didn't have. A family. They want to understand the genes. Why doesn't the mother have it? Why doesn't the father have it? Why are the grandchildren free from it? Why does this one have? They just want to understand that. This is a disease which really has baffled everyone for so long. Even the experts themselves, the ones you say, wow, this is a guy who should give us an answer. They don't have the answer.
I see you talk to government officials. What do they tell us? Are results there yet? Is there anything on ground that we should know of?
Yeah, government officials, sometimes they can really be evasive, because even from my last story, they were quite a headache. That's what journalists we face. Yeah, they're supposed to tell us about the things that are happening. People are supposed to care. If you keep information to yourself, how is anyone going to care? Because we the journalists, we try our best to bring out these things. But if I call you for a comment, this is a serious issue, you don't give it to me, I don't think you're taking this disease seriously. And by that, it's no longer called a disease. Why? It's a syndrome. That's something we changed during the first conference, scientific conference we had on the syndrome 2 years back, still in August 2012. It was to be called nodding syndrome. Why not disease? Because it's a combination of many diseases, It's a syndrome. Yeah. So going back to your question again, the government, what they are doing, well, they set up the treatment centers. What else can they do? But what they can do is give those kids food. There are 3,000 people, for crying out loud. Over 3,000 people, you can't handle such.
Is that the total? Do we know how many have this syndrome in Uganda?
Well, the ministry says 3,000, over 3,300, thereabouts. But there could be more. Who knows? Because when I went to my second story that I did, Adonga and Marvin Opoka, that kid who ate soap, actually, and that other boy who just wanders around, you're like, wow, they have surveillance teams down there. Haven't these guys reached Marvin? Have they reached Adonga? Why are these boys, why do I find them worse than I found them in 2012? They have never received medicine. They have never gotten anything. This is a story I reported about someone who cares enough. Maybe our officials should watch TV, honestly, because if you see these kids on a show, it's shown, it's serious. Someone tells you they've never ever received any medication. Why not send that surveillance team? Because they have surveillance teams down there. Why couldn't they go and identify those kids? Yeah, the government is trying, but it's not doing enough. This is a small population. I was joking, I was like, wow, Mr. Museveni always, takes a sack somewhere. Those kids could use a sack. They don't have clothes, they don't have food, they don't have, I found Marvin, the place we were sleeping at, it was just horrible, okay? It was horrible. It's a miracle that I was in that room with him for so long a time,
It's interesting how this story has encapsulated you in many ways. Now, there's people that feel this actually might be contagious. That is why it is in certain families and so on. What have we discovered about that? Is it in any way contagious?
Look at me. Look at me. I've been with those kids in 2012 in their homes, entering their homes, sometimes even tasting their food. Hello? Am I infected?
I don't know.
No. So yeah, that is something I asked, who was the minister at that time?
Of health, you mean?
Yeah, in health.
Dr. Rugunda?
No.
That's the current one anyway.
This guy who went out, a good guy, by the way. He just was state minister.
Whoever, that one. Richard Duhur, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, because like, wow, is this thing infectious? Like, no, it's not. But I'm testimony that it's not infectious. Yeah, but science has not yet proved that anyway.
What can do as a society? Because you see, many are happening in this country. We've seen things happen to the people of northern Uganda right from the time war was happening there, courtesy of LRA and his bandits. We were comfortable here in Kampala. Life was moving on, kind of comfortably, and we didn't really care as long as things were moving on.
And that is the problem.
So this is happening as well. It's been there for years, and until NTV spotlighted the issue, we didn't know about it and so on. What can we do? I know we might scream our guts out and say, government, do something. They might take a while. What can we do?
Exactly.
As
a people, we should care, we should rise up. Why don't we say that, wow, the Northern District has over 3,000 people, can't we handle this? Why don't we just rise up? Why can't we just rise up?
And do what exactly?
Let's go to these people, let's reach out to them, let's show them some love. It's what they need. You just give this guy 2 clothes. I just give Adonga what? a t-shirt. It was even a branded t-shirt, and the guy smiled. Something
but
I've
the t-shirt,
never
because
seen.
you see, the t-shirt is not going to take away the symptomatic illnesses that
exactly,
the syndrome and so on.
and that one.
I'm thinking in that direction of, can we have total healing? The
No,
clothes
no.
are good, the food stuff.
We are not going. No, we're not going to have total healing now. You know, because this is a matter
Well,
now.
we can make steps to
this
that.
is a matter of science. The steps you are going to make is make them live in a dignified life. You don't find a child sitting there, you know, to the extent that he doesn't even know what is good to be eaten. For him to eat soap, for him to, I'm sure he eats even, you know, his worst. Honestly, you know, we have to make them live a dignified life, and we can make that. Just donate what? Clothes, those things which can make them be comfortable, because right now there's no cure, period. We've accepted that. But do they have to live in lives which are not dignified at all? To live like dogs? To live like what? Honestly, you know,
you're very passionate about this, and I've seen you many times cover this story, and I'm thinking, wow, what has this whole, you know, this time you have been covering this story, what has it done to you? How has it changed perhaps the way you perceive life? I know you are a journalist. Many times we are supposed to remain detached to the stories we cover this one, it is bad, go cover another one, and then look for another, and that kind of thing. This one has really consumed you.
Yeah, some stories really consume you, they stay with you, you think about them, and then you realize you're hopeless. Like, wow, what can I as Florence do? What can we as the station do? You think of a lot of things, but as long as no other person is joining you.
I like to imagine, for starters, you have played your part at the station, we are playing our part, we are highlighting this situation. Hopefully somebody will come to the realization that something needs to be done about this.
Somebody is you. All of us, honestly. We should. Like I've told you, they just need to live in a dignified way. They want to have that meal when they can. And what? This guy is, you know, it's basic food, honestly. Just a few clothes. Because already, you know, their hats, the style that they're built in, they just sleep on the floor. It's sad.
I want to play for you this story. This is a story of the families that were taken to the US, so samples could be taken of them to just try and understand what this disease is all about.
In 2012, an American director of the Division of Global Disease Detection from the Centers for Disease Control in the US said that nodding syndrome was a condition that needed to be urgently addressed. Dr. Scott Dow made the remarks at the first scientific conference on nodding syndrome in Uganda.
We've been working for several years and we still don't have the answers.
It is now almost 2 years on, but scientists haven't yet made a breakthrough in establishing the cause. However, the CDC team in Uganda has been assessing the people afflicted by the syndrome in the north. In May, a family of 10 from Lamu district was taken to the National Institutes of Health in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C., to undergo genetic studies. The institute is the world's largest hospital in the field of clinical research. The family hails from a Bam village.
The study wants to know whether there is any genetic correspondence from the parents to the affected children, and why the other children have remained without the nodding syndrome, and why have the grandchildren remained healthy.
The family returned on May 26.
They took a lot of samples, like fluids, like blood, and even brain tissue, and analysis is undergoing.
In an article posted by Dr. Francis Collins, the NIH director, on their website, the 3 teenage patients, ages 18, 17 and 13, underwent extensive medical testing, including detailed MRI imaging of their brains and overnight electroencephalography, which records electrical activity from brainwaves. In addition, all members of the family underwent a range of medical tests.
It is our prayer to God that out of the 10 people, we should get to know what is the problem and the drug itself.
Nodding syndrome has been something that struck the medical profession and the knowledge of medicine in this particular region.
But the most affected is the sufferer, the one carrying the strange mix of diseases, each of which manifests itself differently. Sufferers experience head nodding, especially at the sight of cold food or cold weather. This is accompanied by cognitive impairment, delayed puberty and growth retardation, with most being malnourished and stunted. Investigations are going on in South Sudan and Tanzania, which are the other 2 countries known to have patients with the syndrome. Some causes have been ruled out, like suspected consumption of red sorghum, consumption of baboon brain, and absence of reported history of measles in South Sudan. Uganda has its fair share of suspicions.
We realize that there is a very big difference between what the community perceive about the disease as compared to the health workers.
Some of them say, I think the ghost. Some of them say, I think some medicines have been put on areas, so it has catch the people of these areas where they're not, because they are like, why is it concentrating in some of these areas and not in other areas? Yeah, some of them are saying maybe it is the effects of the bombs.
While some people blame the relief food in the region, experts ruled that out in prior investigations. In fact, dozens of hypotheses have been ruled out. However, there have been some suspected causes, like the onchocerciasis infection from the black fly, resident in many rivers surrounding the affected. Another narrow down has been vitamin B6 deficiency.
That's interesting to us because low vitamin B6 in a rare circumstances can be associated with seizures, intractable seizures, very difficult to treat. And so that provides us some hope that if high doses of vitamin B6 are provided, perhaps that will help these children.
Most scientists agree that the syndrome is a form of epilepsy, with the nodes being caused by a special kind of seizure requiring anti-epileptic drugs. However, researchers haven't yet agreed on the best drug to prescribe to the patients. In Padea district, the parents in this home did their own observations on the drugs and demanded that the
There you have it. Some baby steps trying to be made to try and decipher this cryptic puzzle, if you like, of nodding syndrome. So we can get to Tabzu what exactly it is about and how we can do something about it. When you look at research that's been done previously and you juxtapose it against what we have on ground, is there some kind of similarity? Are there disparities? What do we find?
Yeah, like you're saying, we are making baby steps because they have come from so far, because everything has been researched about the beliefs of the people, what could be causing it, what could be doing this, but still they don't understand it. But still they continue anyway. You can't just give up. We are still looking for, a vaccine against HIV. But, the research is getting there. Though it's gradual. When people have been waiting for decades, it's really gradual. But what's big about this is that, NIH came on board, which is something. The National Institutes of Health, if you just Google about it or anything, it's a big institution which does a lot of clinical research. So it's on board, and for it considers this disease a global threat, which is something we Ugandans are not doing. It's something Tanzanians are not doing. Oh, by the way, in Tanzania, when the first scientific conference happened, these people came from the ministry, and they were totally that's about, there are people like, actually, we don't even know this, we don't even know, like, wow, Uganda, we are doing better. This is the way we are caring somehow. We are caring somehow, but not enough. We should care more. But yeah, NIH came on board, and I think, we can get there because they fear, and for them, they want to research this family, determine the genes, what causes the seizures, blah, blah. Because in America, there's a lot of people, there are so many people, rather, who have, seizures. So they want to try to figure out nodding syndrome, whether there is a fix somewhere which can connect them to that. Then they'll find a cure for their people. And they find a cure for our children. Hopefully and adults.
Hopefully we do pretty soon. Florence Naruimba, health reporter here at NTV. Pleasure having you here this morning. We appreciate your passion.
Thank you.
Keep following this up so we can put light onto this story,
we should
and
follow
hopefully something will be done pretty soon.
Hopefully.
My opinion is up next. "3,000 lives in northern Uganda have been changed courtesy of nodding syndrome." Now, this is not positive change. Unfortunately, their lives have been debilitated, torn apart. Many of them are dying day in, day out. Like Florence did say, can we care enough? Can we care some more? Here in Kampala, we seem to be oblivious of certain happenings in the rest of this good country. And it goes to show for how different we do things. Hopefully we can all get on board. It's interesting to see that government is trying to understand what this is about, take samples here and there. I hope we can move a little bit faster than we are moving. And look, I know Uganda is bedeviled by so many things besides nodding syndrome, But we need to be concerned about all the happenings in this country, and hopefully, I look forward to that day when Uganda will be a better country. I know Africa, and Uganda particularly, is known for about 4 things that have eaten us up to the roots. One is poverty, the other is disease, of course war, and theft for that matter. Disease standing out. We've got huge numbers, and as we talk about nodding syndrome this morning, hopefully we can make progression in as far as this fight is concerned. Enough said. That's the big story for today. Morning at NTV continues shortly.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only 2 individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
Are you and I ever gonna have a chance to be sisters?
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
So I'm happy you came. Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman. I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you? Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. It's 13 after 8, and we're still at the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel. What an incisive talk. Joel Senyonyi and Florence there on the nodding disease. How much do you know? And if you are a stakeholder, you can share with us on our platform, Morning at NTV. A couple of things that Florence talked about. She says that in Tanzania, the ministry officials were totally clueless about the disease in their own country. A very clear concept as she talked about NTD, neglected tropical disease. And of course, most people do not know about this. They do not know how it works. People in Southern Sudan think that the reason is because the kids ate baboon brain, and so they were infected. And everything has been researched about. The research is getting there, and it's gradual. That's why some of the people were actually flown to the US for more studies on that. And Florence also goes on to tell us that that all right, hold on a couple of minutes. All right, let me just get this sorted out. You know, the story of Kabila was obviously very shocking. We went there, saw this boy very happy, and 8 months were too late to even cause anything. Florence, I went back and this boy tells me Kabila pay. You remember that story? And some people have also said that these guys are affected a lot by the weather. If it's shining so much, they can literally turn into zombies. They will eat anything. You saw the story of the boy who was eating soap or polythene. Whatever you brought in front of him, he used to eat it. And this is actually very, very serious. What kills them is the seizures, especially when it occurs near water and fire. The ministry has surveillance teams, but someone tells you that they have never received medication. So someone somewhere is eating the money that is supposed to provide medication for these kids, and that's very, very sad. And I think Minister of Health needs to come out clearly on this. We'll still continue, Florence will continue trailing on the progress of the nodding disease. Let us know on our Facebook page or Twitter handle at Morning at NTV how we can make sure that we save the lives of these very, very young children. And in a couple of minutes, I'll be returning with Sudesh on Everyday Life, talking how your attitude can affect the way you work. But for now, Mabel is standing by with some of your Facebook comments. Stay with us.
Brian, and indeed that concept of neglected tropical disease is something that's new to me. I've learned it today, and probably something I will research on a bit later. Behind me here is a picture of David Platt, who turns 49 today. He's an English player and former assistant manager at Manchester City. He left when Mancini left. Also celebrating a birthday today, someone turning 55, is Carlo Ancelotti, the Italian who has played for Roma, Milan and Parma, also coaching Milan and Parma, as well as Chelsea and PSG. Currently the coach in Juventus, yes, Juventus, and currently a coach of Real Madrid. Very successful, if you may ask, winning the Champions League in 2003 and 2007. Now on to some of your Facebook messages. We have here Johnson Kansime saying, too bad, sorry to those kids over there. And there are lots of tweets. If you really want to know more about the nodding syndrome disease, please visit our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Like our page and you will see lots of what Florence said there. We also have comments here. We have Norman saying, I just hope something is done about that syndrome pretty soon. Merely watching it on TV is disturbing. What about physically? God have mercy on our northern counterparts. Florence continuing to say that the scientists are baffled. They do not actually know what is causing that disease. Other messages, we have Johnson Kansime saying, Florence, thanks for those bulletins. Let them get exposed to those who may have the ability to do the needful. However, those people's parents are completely irresponsible. I wonder why he says those parents are irresponsible. Johnson also further asks, when is the district edition coming to Gulu? And we have Ebo here, Tino Mujuni, saying thanks for the show, and he's sending out his greetings to some people there. Lots of you saying good morning, thanks for hosting, and please, someone wants the contacts. I think you can easily contact Florence here on the NTV. Just go to our page and send us a message, and we shall indeed pass it on to her. Now on to some other messages here on Facebook regarding the press review. We have Kevis Katende saying the budget is going to increase all the things as usual. We know that. And we have Lamar saying, good morning, Brian and the NTV crew. I love the work that you're doing. And Philemon saying, I love you guys. I'm ready watching Morning at NTV. Please keep it up. We shall now cross over to Brian for Everyday Life.
Well, thank you so much, Mabel. This morning, looking at your attitude at work, when you face criticism, when you go in with a low spirit, when you walk lazily around the office, if your boss sees you just dropping everything, how does that affect the way we do, one, our professional work, and of course, your business? Sudesh Kaka joining me this morning on Everyday Life. Good morning, Sudesh.
Good morning, Brian.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And it's nice to see you. I was not around when you were here, so I was very eager to get you to talk to you.
I'm finally here.
At home. Good morning.
Morning.
Sudesh, there's a common saying that your attitude is your everything, or your energy is your everything. How does that relate to the work we do professionally and, of course, our own personal businesses?
I think when you go to work, you need two things. You need the energy, which we refer to as the passion, but you also need the attitudes. The attitude is how you understand things, and it's usually reflected in your behavior. So that it's very important, because if you have a bad attitude, your behavior will be bad. If you have good attitudes, your behaviors will be good. So it is very vital in the workplace.
Some people say when we get into, for example, a new job, you come fiery, you want to change everything, and somehow all that is it's almost dropped. Your boss has not put mechanisms in place to make you work, and so people just say, it's the same old story. That's how it is.
Brian, every career goes through 5 stages. One is you get to learn, it's learning, then you go through editing, then you go through mastering, then you go through harvesting, then you go through giving. Learning, the major word there is you're adding, you're just getting in. When you went to school, how much money were you paid? Very little money. So we need to understand that, I've just come in, and so I'm getting to learn so many new things. I'm not going to, first of all, they're not going to listen to me as much as they should be listening to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So at that point, there is a lot of frustration that goes on, because you have the energy, but you're still learning. Come on, you're still learning.
Right.
Then you go through the editing. This is where you're getting the diamonds from the rocks. You have so many rocks, but you're getting the diamonds. The key word here is subtraction. You're subtracting. And how do you narrow it down to the few things that you need to do? Because an attitude is based on understanding, and this is the understanding that people need to have. At the editing process, you need to know, number one, what's required of me.
Right.
And number two, what brings in the biggest return. And number three, this is very interesting, what's my Rambo? You remember the movie Rambo?
Yes.
That guy did everything. He would get a stick and cut a cloth. There are those things that you just do so well. So what's your Rambo? You're editing. Then you go through mastering. Mastering, this is when the key word here is practice, practice, practice. Practice makes champions.
Right.
You have to practice, and this is where it gets very messy. This is where so many people quit, because we are told that it takes 10,000 hours for someone to become very good at what they do. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger Woods began practicing golf at the age of 5 or 3, but we get to see him really winning a championship at 17. So all through, what was he doing? He was practicing, practicing, practicing. And now, if you get into a job and you just want to get to the top, and you don't have this understanding, you don't have this attitude, then when you're practicing and practicing and practicing, then you might quit. And at this stage, this is when you have a lot of criticism.
What are some of the excuses that people give you for having a bad attitude at work? I know personally I was struggling with that, because I want to do things, right there and then, and if it doesn't happen in the time I want it, I kind of get, frustrated, and so I just zone out.
Of course, one of the excuses is, one of the excuses is people will say, you know, I'm a fast mover and these people are slow.
Too slow.
Yeah, but you know, you have to understand, sometimes you're getting in and you're at the learning process. Let me illustrate what a bad attitude is. A bad attitude is like this. You're basically, I mean, this is funny, isn't it?
Yes.
You're laughing at this. Now, you're still laughing, but if I stand up and start walking and I knock these tables, I knock the cameras down, will it be still funny?
No.
It won't be funny. So
it will be annoying.
It will be annoying.
Yeah.
That's how the bad attitudes are, and some of them, and that's one of them, because you get in and you know, you think you're a fast mover and you want to move things, but you need to understand that you're going through the processes. You're learning, you're editing, now you're mastering, and then after mastering, then you go to harvesting. This is where the victory comes in. You know, this is where you become the keep zero. You win the gold medal. You're reaping the rewards. It is fun, but you know, let's not confuse that with you know, being the end of the game. No, it's not the end of the game. Just imagine Kipsiro runs and he wins the gold medal, and then after winning the gold medal, he just lies on the turf and stays there for 20 minutes. What will happen? You think, has the man, is he okay?
Right.
Can, you know, they start bringing in ambulances. So it's not the end. You have to go on to the giving part. And this is when you start to teach and you start to invest in other people. And it's say that, you know, unless you give something, it doesn't really cause an effect.
Right.
And it say that legacy is the biggest kind of investment that you can make. So every career goes through those 5 stages. And if you understand these 5 stages, then you have to locate yourself where you are.
Right.
Sometimes they happen simultaneously. Like right now, in my career, I'm going through the mastering part, but at the same time I'm harvesting, and at the same time I'm giving, which I'm doing right now.
So sometimes they all come at once and you have to work with that.
Yeah, they overrun each other, because as you're learning, you're also editing.
Right.
Yes, you're learning things, but you're removing. You learn others, you remove. So they override each other.
The benefits are obviously, you know, clear, and at the time when you're harvesting, it's awesome.
Yeah.
When I started clearly harvesting from my career, I was like, whoa, slow down. But for people who have, and I had to go through a series of talks with several people on how to change my attitude at work, on how to be as patient as possible, because some people in the creative world catch up, you know, at a later time, and then the vehicle all of a sudden moves. But how can you help people at their workplaces, even in their own personal businesses, change their attitude?
I think attitude, number one, starts with what goes on, what you feed your mind with. What do you feed your mind with? Do you feed your mind with you know, things that tell you, you know, you cannot make it, or you're the center of the universe and without you things can't go on? Or what are you feeding your mind with? Are you feeding your mind with positive things?
Right.
Because sometimes there is the excuse, you know, I was reading something that said 85% of the world's millionaires are self-made. That means they came from a background of poverty. And when you come from such a background, you already have so many, you know, you can have reasons not to make it, but they choose to put different thoughts into their minds, and so they go on and make it. So first of all, what do you feed on? And then do you ask for feedback? Do you ask for feedback from the people that you work with? You tell them, you know what, how is my attitude? How would you rate it? What do I need to change? What do I need to improve? And there will be some sincere people. They will tell you, you know what, I think you're too fast here. I think you should be patient with me. I think you should do this, do that. So number one, get to learn the positive things, and also get the feedback. And when you get the feedback, accept it and correct those things that are not good.
Right. Some of the things that make us really sad, and I've interacted with many people, the attitude that their bosses give them, or there's always this one person at work that somehow is working to make sure you're out. So you kind of feel like you're not here because you're supposed to be here, but it's only a matter of time. Your boss will say, I've had it. Just go. Or people are withholding information so that you look like, you look like the damn guy. Everyone knows what's going on. You're always the one. I never knew. And that's because people are cutting off information. How do you overcome that? Because I know a couple of people who have been affected a lot.
This may sound cliche because we say it a lot, especially we who are in the motivational business. We say it a lot. We say you're responsible for your reaction, and it almost sounds cliche because when this boss is going at you, I mean, your feelings just want to go over the top and everything. But from my personal point, I had a boss like that when I was just beginning my career, and this gentleman would come in and say, so this is not fine, you're doing things not good, and he would go around tell you.
You feel so demotivated.
Yeah, you feel demotivated, but what kept me going is I think I knew what I wanted to accomplish at that place, and also I talked to other people and said, you know what, how do I deal with this guy? So get help, but also try to find out where they're coming from, because I got to find out that this boss was hard on me because there was pressure coming on top. Now that is not reason enough for him to come at me, but if I get to understand that, then I tell him, hey boss, I finished my work. Do you mind if I do some more work? Is there something that you would want me to help with? And people react to kindness. Sooner or later he will start to break. Sooner or later he will start to break. So that would be my advice.
At the point where we do interviews for our jobs, of course, we want the job, so we are like, we'll do anything. Give me anything. I can work under pressure. I am a team player. And somehow we are always, perfect. But I'm also told that bosses have the capacity to detect right away the way you walk in, the way you look around, and they can say this one is not right for the job.
It say that everyone at the interview is an angel because they are all self-motivated. They are, they can work under pressure. They can do all these things, but there are tests that can be done to actually prove that you cannot work under pressure, or you're just writing things to look perfect and have a nice CV. But also there is a great key element that employers have, which is called intuition. It's hard to explain intuition, but someone walks in and you just have this thing, you just say, you know what, they look nice on paper, but there's something that doesn't just add up. So and sometimes they come in and what they are saying is the total opposite of what's on paper. And they came in late and they are dirty, and you're asking them questions and they're fidgeting and they're doing all these things. Those are very small indicators to show you that, wait, this person is not as good as they think they are or as they say they are. So we look at those small things and you don't ignore them, because the small pictures ultimately make the big picture. Yes.
Well, have you ever noticed that sometimes people with the most positive attitude at the workplaces have more friends? That's something you can think about. And something here says employees with positive attitudes tend to be more productive because they always see their company opportunity with every challenge. How true is that?
I think it's
because I also know some people have too much positive attitude and they end up messing up everything.
You have to balance between being positive and being realistic, because you might be so positive and you run the company down. You have to be.
They're somehow in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly.
Yet they are so passionate about the work. They're all seeing the good side of things, while some of us are in the analytical thing of like, but will this work? Will this work? Because like, it can work. Let us go, and then boom.
Brian, being in the wrong place at the right time will cause chaos. So part of I think the skill that these people need to get, the people that are so energetic, they need to understand the power of timing. When do I talk? Because some of them are so energetic, but they just talk and you hold your ears, you go like, oh my God, what are they saying? Can they just
shut up?
So it all comes with yes, you learn the skill, but it's also an attitude, because you know there are very bad attitudes where you steal from people at the workplace. That's obvious, but there are some bad attitudes that are very hard to notice. One of them is having a chronic a chronic way of wanting to seek attention. Do you know people like that?
Yeah.
They will come in with their fly open just to seek attention from everyone.
That's very disastrous.
And now, that is, they will come in and it will be funny. It will be funny. It will be very funny till it actually rubs onto the people. They come in like that in a board meeting, and you guys will go. You put this person aside and tell them, dude, lady.
Right.
I think you crossed the line here. Yeah. But they've had this bad attitude all along. But just because you never knew it was a bad attitude, you thought it was funny. So sometimes we think it's a good attitude, but it's actually a bad attitude. The people that seek attention a lot seem funny, but they are not really funny. They are just getting attention.
I like that. I like because I'm now thinking through my own life and the life of a couple of friends.
Are you guilty?
I was. I have, this is a work in progress. I have had to change a lot of things. As we close this, research shows that only 8% of the things we worry about are worth being concerned about. People with positive work attitudes know this, therefore they do not waste time worrying, and they expend their energies on more positive activities. Sudesh, want to leave it at that. We'll definitely call you back. I have definitely learned something this morning. Head over to our Facebook page for your comments or questions, and of course at Morning at NTV if you have anything to say about this. This morning you can start a new way of releasing positive energies at your workplace, or actually learning something for yourself. Isma is starting by with sports. Isma, finally Africa sends a team at the World Cup with, of course, as usual, chaos around monies. What is wrong with us? Why are we always in the headlines when it comes to money?
I think this starts with mistrust between the players and the administrators of football in Africa, and that is because the Cameroonians had refused to board the plane and travel to Brazil because they weren't sure of how much are going to be paid in allowances for participating in the World Cup. But they've agreed to take 6% of the $5 million that every team will receive from FIFA for playing at the World Cup. That we will talk about that, and also tell you about Cameroon's chances, Ghana, Nigeria, Algeria, and then we'll tackle a bit of the NBA, and the national team for the rugby is in Tunisia for the Africa Cup.
Well, stay with us. In exactly 2 minutes, we'll be back talking sport with Mabel, Isma, and I this morning at NTV. Good morning.
If you increase the budget, it's basically helping the person who is up on the ladder. Youth fund, that one is gone case. Because if you look at the process of getting the youth fund, it's long and you have to know someone in the queue.
There's a lot to be done with that money. There are so many schools that are really in poor state that need to be worked on. The hospitals. So if they keep on adding more money for some of these MPs who don't even do anything.
To me, as a youth, I think the budget should address most especially on jobs for us the youth.
9,000 jobs for 400,000 graduates every year. But maybe the budget will answer that on June 12, 2014.
Our budget, our responsibility.
oluvannyuma lwa lutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa abekika
abamu bajja ne babakima
era twagende mu Lukola eyo inakasongula mu Buluri twagende mu Butale Babalaro okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi
ntimukwate obutonde obwekonkome mukwate obutonde bwa Ibora mubuteeke mu nsigo omuzungu ayogedde palamenti muyise bosi basajja
omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo kati waliwo n'emyaka egy'entondo
waliwo yakiŋŋamba
bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola
dokita buli akwata bayibuli eno ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza. For example, waliwo controversy yaliwo.
Tobeera mu ssuuti ate n'oteeka mu gganduula.
Olina kubeerako kimu.
Beerako kimu.
Kubanga nkusomesezza tumaze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda. Eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina.
Nakulabira Abaganda baagala Kabaka.
Oh!
Ekifo ekimu kissa Wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli Lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
This guy, the guy right here, he's lovely, isn't he? But when he is hungry and desires a real snack, he will stop at nothing. Unless that nothing is Jessa Smooth Yogurt. It's fresh, thick, flavored and nutritious. Recommended by nutritionists, Jessa Smooth Yogurt comes in various flavors like vanilla, strawberry and banana. Jessa Farm Dairy. Always trusted, always delicious.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Deception.
By the way, I remember giving you a very fair deal. It was fair for both of us.
Even I'm not interested in your deals. I don't want to marry you. That's not even a secret.
Mama, I am only human.
I know.
And I have a breaking point. And this family has made me reach my breaking point.
Somebody help me. Sorry, Blin. Somebody help me.
Destiny River.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Oda, I no go stop to the singing.
No problem. Keep singing. This singing will put you in trouble very soon. You won't believe it's the boy's father that inflicted such injury on him. Just because he stole 50 naira. 50 naira for that matter. That man should be arrested. Oh, how I wish I could just see that man and give him a piece of money. Abigail, I don't care if you're chatting with Barack Obama. When you're at work, you learn how to detach yourself from that phone else to get you into trouble. Whatever. I mean, you should be happy that a pilot is asking your friend out.
My brother, I learned that 3 armed robbers tried to rob a man as he came out of the bank at the junction before the express.
Don't try to be the hero.
You won't kill me.
Do you know how long I've been waking you up quietly and you refuse to wake?
Now you can't interrupt someone.
I'd like to pray with you, nurses, being the vessels that the Almighty God has been using to heal His people.
Okay. Can someone please talk to me? What is going on?
Who is she?
See, I hate cheating in my life. I hate cheating and nothing will make me have 50 kobo to that money I already get you.
Mikwano gyaffe bana NTV ate naddala mu bannaamu muli gw'emizannyo muli gw'ebyemizannyo gukomyewo 2014 ate mutya kati ate gukyusiza n'obudde kati gwa 7 gwali gwa 9 ne gugoberera ntusanyuka kati gubongereddeko wano malya g'ebyemisana awo guso tugubatayize gubaletire kintu kyonna kalenda n'ebyemizannyo obudde muli gw'ebyemizannyo mupya 2014 Isima wali alagira Argentina yenjo mukubire eddiba lye omukwano kujja kukoma wano ku muli gw'emizannyo naye kasita kinatuuka eri bano ba Messi okulumba abalenzi baffe ba Thiago Silva awo tewali mukwano omuli gw'emizannyo 2014 President.
On to 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for staying with us. We definitely don't take it for granted. 100,000 followers on Twitter. Yay! So do this for us. Morning at NTV is our Twitter handle. Make sure you go there and follow us, and let us also make 5,000 by the end of the week.
Facebook, we have 18,000 likes on our morning page.
We're doing well. Yeah. I don't know if Odanki is thinking about something.
Pay rise. Like the Cameroonians.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Brian.
Looking dapper.
Yeah, without necessarily wearing the same color with Mabel.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, I've got to give myself a lot of credit.
Yeah, but the watch looks like Mabel's. I had to find something. All right. Mabel, of course, as usual with her killer shoes. I don't know if we can get a shot on those shoes. So what are they called? What are those called?
Listen, I'll just call them simple stiletto.
Stiletto.
Stiletto. I was wearing Devil Wears Prada the other night for the nth time. Meryl Streep and what's the girl? Anne Hathaway. And then I saw a lot of fashion that it's obscene that one movie could have all those kind of clothes. They are probably enough to make 10 movies, the clothes in Devil Wears Prada.
A Nigerian movie, maybe. And Isma, this morning, the World Cup fever is we're kind of getting it, But Africa, as usual, in the head, in the stories, we don't want to play. Let's focus on Cameroon. What an aging squad. How can Samuel Eto'o be the captain up to this point? Can they rekindle the fire of the 1990s?
Probably Cameroon is the biggest team that has probably brought joy to the African continent, especially in 1990 when they beat up on Argentina and then go to the quarterfinals. But they've never had a chance to repeat that success because they've never had a team as good as those players. And probably if Pepe Kale was alive and he went to studio, he would never sing about Cameroon like that song where I sang about and sang Makanaki because Makanaki was a player in the team. Probably right now you cannot sing Roger Miller in this team. But they're in a group that has Brazil, Croatia, and then Mexico. So in terms of them getting, it's not the toughest group, but everyone I think thinks Brazil will go through as group leaders. They've got to fight for the second place, Croatia, Mexico, and Cameroon.
And Mexico is a very good team.
A very good team, very solid defensively. They don't score that many goals. I remember watching them during the CONCACAF qualifiers, and they were lacking that bite up front. Even Javi Hernandez Chicharito, who plays for Manchester United, wasn't getting the goals. But I have to think that Cameroon's best chance is to go back to what they used to do best. They used to be a very physical side. Probably Samuel Eto'o can't get them more than a goal in a game, but they've got to go into that first game. I think that's on Friday against Mexico, and get something out of it, because if they lose that game, then the next two fixtures are even tougher. That's against Brazil and Croatia, and they don't have that the aura of the Cameroon sides of the past. Because at some point they were even wearing sleeveless shirts. That brought them a bit of aura. Now they don't have that anymore. We can only refer to them things are used to in terms of Nigeria. They are fighting for salaries before flying to Brazil. Luckily they have flown there.
Well, Ivory Coast are calling their squad the Golden Generation. Do you think it will deliver?
Third successive appearance for this team after they only made the World Cup for the very first time back in 2006. So you look at the team, Yaya Toure, Javinho, Didier Drogba, and all those players, Boubou Kabari in goal and Isaac Tiene. I think one of the things they've not achieved is get out of the group stages. But I look at it this way. They have a much easier group than they've had before. They have a group that has Greece and Colombia. So you have a feeling that Ivory Coast should have a chance. Very defensive side, but they don't score goals.
Greece are European winners?
European champions from 10 years ago. 2004, but it's a fallacy. I don't know even how they won the Euro at the time. But
they are good.
I think about the Ivorians. I think in the last two World Cups they had a very tough group. In 2006, on their debut, they had to deal with Germany. They had to deal with Argentina and Netherlands in the group stages. 4 years ago, they had to deal with Portugal and Brazil in the group stages. I think neither of those groups gave them a chance. But they go into a World Cup where you have Wilfred Bonn in form, You have Javino, who has been playing very well at Roma. Then you have Yaya Toure, one of the best players in the world.
And Drogba is also.
And Drogba is still
always
around.
delivers when you need him to deliver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And more importantly, besides Drogba, there's Salomon Kalou.
Right.
Never ever fails for Ivory Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of come in the Nigerian squad this time. Will they? Do you think they will go past the group stage?
They normally don't. They normally don't. And when they do, they only get to the round of 16. And Nigeria are the team that I'm used to hearing all these stories of pay rise, the coach is being sacked before the World Cup, the infighting within the team. For some reason, those are not the stories coming out of Nigeria.
Yeah.
They seem to be a team
focused
on the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that Stephen Keshi, for everything they've not done well, probably they have a better chance. They've got to look at the opposition. They have a group that has Argentina, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Iran. They probably won't beat Argentina. Yet they play Argentina almost at every other World Cup and lose the game.
Is it because you support Argentina?
No, they never beat Argentina. And yeah, they never beat Argentina. Argentina always win the game by a goal to nil.
Okay.
And they're going to play a very tough side in Bosnia, which is very attack-minded. Edin Dzeko and Neveda Ibisevic are two of the most lethal scorers from the qualifying in Europe. I have a feeling that whatever Nigeria will do will depend on the delivery of their men up front. Emmanuel Emenike was one of the best players at the Nations Cup, which they won, but they have not. It hasn't been the same. Now they have Peter Demwingi coming into the side after a long suspension, because Stephen Keshi didn't think it was in the mind frame to play for them. So they've got to start scoring goals.
Sometimes
at the other
I'm
end
really
of the pitch.
disappointed. Like Odemwinge, he's such a good, and he does not deliver when you need him to.
Yeah, I don't think he's had a lot.
He was so many opportunities.
Yeah, I
cross the ball.
Sometimes he doesn't cross when he's supposed to. That's about decision making. But for me, most of the time, it has been about him refusing to play for Nigeria, and that's something that Stephen Keshi doesn't like. And at some point, he dropped him for over 1 year. He wasn't in the team. Now he recalled him because there's a World Cup and he's one of the best Nigerian players they have. Hopefully, they'll put it together. The bigger worry for me is that some of their better players have not been playing regular, and I think about Victor Moses.
Yeah.
He has been on the bench at Liverpool for the entire, so that won't help them. And then the left back at Monaco, Echijile, got injured in training this week, so won't be going to the World Cup. That's very disheartening because for me, he's the best left back in Africa.
Oh. All right.
Okay, moving on. Ghana 4 years ago generated a lot of excitement. Do you think they'll continue to generate that excitement this time round?
And some people still think Ghana should have been in the semi-final.
Yes, I do. I'm one of those. And that's why
converted
I do not like, what's his name? The guy in
Louis
Liverpool.
Suarez.
Yes.
And that
I'll
is
never forget.
that's why.
I don't forgive, I don't forget.
Why do you blame Suarez for that? We failed to convert the chances.
The penalty.
Period. That's what it comes down to.
The bottom line, Suarez was punished for what he did.
Yes.
He held the ball on the line. He was sent off. There's a penalty
But
for Ghana.
what if?
We failed to convert it.
What if?
What if
Jana somehow converts his penalty? He didn't.
What if
Simple.
Suarez had scored 3?
And I was on this show the other time and telling you, Mabel, I'm not a moralist at all. I believe in players doing everything in their powers to make sure their teams win.
Roberto Carlos said that if it had to come down to him falling in the penalty box so that Brazil gets a penalty,
simple,
he will do it.
But Brian, that's not very right.
What do you mean very right?
Being
the only right thing is to win. Period.
You know, when you win, all those things go away.
Anyway, thankfully, Uruguay didn't win either.
Yeah, I don't think they are the team to win, and we'll talk about them probably tomorrow. But I think for the Ghanaians, that excitement of 4 years ago may not be the same now. They're in a very tough group. They have Germany and Portugal and the USA. That will be very tough for them to get through. Okay, Kwesi Appiah, like the Serbian who was in charge in 2010, is only going to his first World Cup as coach. Jana Samoa does not generate the kind of excitement of 4 years ago.
No.
These days playing in the UAE.
Yeah.
He's not playing that well. So they've got to rely, I think, on a bit of Kevin Prince Boateng and Michael Essien, who is playing at AC Milan. I have a feeling that Ghana will be very disappointed with their performance this time because they set the bar so high last time by getting to the quarterfinals. Yeah. And they actually had a chance to become the first African team to get to the semi-finals that Jana somehow converted that penalty in South Africa. When he didn't, now Ghana taking steps back.
All of Africa was gunning for them, and
except
these guys are the least talked about, but I think they are one of the best teams on the continent.
No,
Algeria.
They always go in a journey, get out in the first or second round.
But they beat us 10-0. But I always think, you know, all these teams, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt. They are some of the best teams on the continent.
Yeah, over time, like
and they go into the World Cup when they are on form.
Yeah, the thing like Bebo said, they always disappoint at the World Cup, and you can't put a finger to why they disappoint. But probably Algeria will be better prepared this time than they have. They are on a 13-match unbeaten run, and actually they are the best ranked team in Africa. I think they are ranked 25th by FIFA. In the world.
By last night, they were 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd. Improvement. Thanks, Brian. Now, I have a feeling that unlike all the other teams that will come with a lot of pressure, Algeria won't. They've been playing some good football. They got through a very tough qualifier against Burkina Faso. They have a team that has been together, a bit like a club. Majid Boguera, who is their captain, they've been together at this, with this same team for several years.
Yeah.
So in terms of what they can achieve at the World Cup, they are probably in a better position than most of the other African teams. And they're not in the toughest group. I think they have Russia to deal with and South Korea in that group. They should have a thing or two to say. And these days they're scoring a bit of goals. I was watching one of their friends the other night where the guy who plays at Tottenham, Nabil Bentaleb, scored one of the goals and they won. I think they don't inspire that kind of excitement because people probably, some of us don't think they're even African enough. But there's a bigger chance for me. Probably there's a bigger chance for Algeria to get to that Ghana.
I can sense a Donald Sterling in Mabel.
Yeah.
Talking about Donald Sterling, yesterday we did mention that he might or might not sell the club. Actually, he has pulled out and he's still going on with his lawsuit.
And what's this? Sorry to cut you. What's this thing that he does not function well upstairs? They did lots of tests and they realized this guy has a problem.
They found him to have a mental problem.
What's
a mental
that?
disorder.
Are they finding any excuse for him to sell?
There are some illnesses that you can only understand when you live in the West.
No, maybe to justify what he actually said. But back to what we were talking about. Right. How many of us actually look at the North Africans as African?
I do.
Really?
I do.
They're even classified as Middle Eastern, though that 1040 country.
Let's move on to NBA.
Yes. Spurs and Heat, what's happening tonight? Tell us. Will it change anything?
Tonight is game 3. The series moves from San Antonio to Miami. So Miami will be at home. They've only lost once at home in the playoffs, so Spurs are in for a ride. For whatever thing that the Spurs can do well, and they've done well throughout the series, now they face their toughest time because the series is tied at 1-1, and LeBron James is going home. And this is where the championship has been for the past 2 years. Miami will be feeling very, very, very confident about getting the result while playing at home. But like I said, this series, there's going to be little to choose until right up to Game 7. Now LeBron will be much fitter because remember in Game 1 he had those cramps and he responded in Game 2 when it was fairer because the AC was switched on in Texas, because in the first game it wasn't. Now the series go to Miami and wait and see, but I have a feeling the Heat will assume the ascendancy tonight.
Well, Isma will be here at 1:30 p.m. with Lumansi and Alan for Omumuli, and of course you can join them there. Sports Bar every Monday, 10:30 p.m. from Club Silk. For now, your African proverb. Do not insult the hunting guide before the sun has set. This is from Betty Nachitende, Sukuma proverb.
Where is Sukuma, first of all? Is it in Tanzania?
Sukuma wiki, that isn't that Kenya?
Kenya?
Kenya, that's Kenya.
I can see.
They're the guys that do Sukuma wiki, right?
I can see ignorance written all over Mabel's face.
I didn't even know it's a place. I just thought it was something to eat.
It's a delicacy,
Yeah.
Yeah, Sukuma wiki.
Yeah, I know that, but I didn't know it's a place.
It should be. It should be. It should be.
Right.
What's the proverb again? I'll just
insult the hunting
I was lampooned
by
Mabel's ignorance, so I.
Come on, that's
all right,
fair.
all right. There's some bad blood here this morning, but yeah, what is your interpretation of this proverb?
Do not insult
the hunting guide before the sun sets.
Yeah, the hunting guide knows the way around the forest. So if you insult them, they would never get you out of the forest. And when it gets dark, you're nowhere. You're probably in the middle of snakes and lions. But you need them, so don't insult. Don't make them angry, so that they let you move wherever you're going.
You climb up with ladders, then you throw the ladder down. And you shall be
exactly.
fine. And you forget that you have to come down. I have had the privilege of being on numerous game drives in the national parks. And these guides, what they do, when you get into the car, they will tell you, we are going to see lions, we're going to see elephants, giraffes, blah, 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 blah. And then halfway the drive, you're thinking, you promised us lions, where are they? So you start, you guys, you're fake, you're the fakest guide I've ever seen. And as you head back home, it tells you, can't you just branch off here? And you find like 10 lions seated there. And then you come back, hey, you're the best guide.
Like lions have been waiting for you.
Yeah, he always knows where, you know, the good stuff is. I guess it also comes to us, you know, you don't have to call it quits until it is actually done. It's been an awesome morning. Our Facebook page is Morning at NTV. Make sure you like us, our page, and of course invite your friends to like the page too. Follow us on Twitter at Morning at NTV, and you can send the text to 6565. We are in a World Cup. I think I'll wear my Italy jersey on Friday.
I have England earrings.
England earrings?
Yes.
Yeah, no wonder they're earrings.
I'll also look for an England
I like the artwork of the plane. You know, keep it running. We're not here for long.
England won't be there for long. You know what I have for Argentina? I have the hood, the one that Maradona used to wear.
The World Cup starts on
Thursday night at 11 p.m. We'll be talking Brazil on Thursday morning.
My producer says he has a party. we won't see that, but yeah.
I have an Argentina hood.
All right.
Yeah.
So on Friday we are going to be donning some, you know,
memorabilia.
Yeah. So can someone wear Africa?
If Uganda was at the World Cup,
Simon Kasiate
will
or
wear
Joel
Africa.
can get a shirt or something.
All right. And
Bye-bye.
A boat from Cameroon.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
NTV, turning on your world.
Whenever they talk about teachers, their salaries are not increased to like the parliamentarians. We hear the prices they have in iPads. Let them also
now
give us
iPad
the teachers.
Oh, the teachers want iPads, the parliamentarians want iPads. Katu iPad yojagazaji. What to sabat job?
Media tuli kumulemegwa.com.
Yes.
My dear.
Yes.
If I'm going to teach my student in Nakaseke down in the year, he has to compete with the student who's in Gayaza.
To iPad or not to iPad? That is the question. Look out for the budget reading on June 12, 2014.
Our budget, our responsibility.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Destiny River.
Warm welcome, right?
I'm worried about you, Manuela. Solano told me you split, and why you split.
I figured. And you believe that it was my fault?
On the contrary, I believe Victor set up something to keep Solano away and damage your relationship.
Yeah, do me a favor. Get in your plane and just get lost in the woods. Or I could give you a hand and make you disappear from Sunflower.
Destiny River.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Catalina, Mia Wina, Catalina, Ego, Lord. The way you they do your thing, you get me wanting. Wetaga, yegwe wange, bana balala bafele bose taga. That's why me sing. Bad mind I play a card on me. If all goodies they can't contest me. Straight to the church, everybody come follow me. Follow me again, follow me again. Me say, I've never seen another God like you. 'Cause ooh, your love is so true. And no matter what pain me going, I can count on you, I can count on you. Ajabalala mona setaga, nonya mukwano yoya sevinga. Dimo mukwano zena lokinga. I know I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Ajabalala mona setaga, nonya mukwano yoya sevinga. Dimo mukwano zena lokinga. I know I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Bangamba sibi sobola, nebyenkola byonna byonna tebabimatira. Say you know moving kabya masiga kuba bafuma ne bageya balala ne banshawa naye manyi nti mukama jali era talya nguzi tekatika mwesinga balala sibe faseno. I've never seen another God like you. 'Cause ooh, your love is so true. And no matter what pain me going, I can count on you, I can count on you. ekitunyiriza ne tweyagala bewunya tetulina kyakola ebinene mukama yabikola bewunya bewunya atukozesa ebyamagero bewunya abatalina mirimu naffe kakati twekolera bewunya ebyo byonna byebalaba mukama yabikola yesu waffe kati tuli mukisa ery'ebyalo eggwanga n'amawanga ani yali amanyi nti naawe olivuga ku mmotoka ani yali amanyi nti naawe olikola ku bizinensi yebazibwe yesu waffe teyebuuza ng'agaba omukisa ye gwayagala gwaguwa singa yali yebuuza abamu ku ffe tetwandifunye naye yebazibwe katonda waffe nga yatwagala oyo ye katonda alina ekisa ekingi mwekwate anaakuyamba leero bangi bewunya ekitunyiriza ne tweyagala bewunya tetulina kyakola ebinene mukama yabikola bewunya bewunya atukozesa ebyamagero bewunya abatalina mirimu naffe kakati twekolera bewunya ebyo byonna byebalaba mukama yabikola yesu waffe bangi bewunya ekitunyiriza ne tweyagala bewunya tetulina kyakola ebinene mukama yabikola bewunya bewunya atukozesa ebyamagero bewunya abatalina mirimu naffe kakati twekolera bewunya ebyo byonna byebalaba mukama yabikola yesu waffe bewunya omukulu oyo ali waggulu asaana kutenda wakuwa obulamu tomala biseera ng'onyigira takuyambye weyimusa kabaka ng'okkiriza kyali kuyamba yaleka ebitiibwa mu ggulu okuyamba gwe nange ffe twanoonya ekikumi ne tunoonya obubuddamu abange nakuwa ekinusu ayagala kawavu nakaga bagamba omwavu tayagalika erudda kituufu naye nze yanyamba bannange abange leka muwaane kyansi kye nze mmanyiyo wamundabye kati naye kyansi kye wala nnyo musuuze kyansi kye nze mmanyiyo wamundabye kati naye kyansi kye wala nnyo simuwaana lwakacanja wabula byakoze entoko sinze nzeka naawe byosirikidde
nze nebaze ntyo mukwano gwo ayi mukama yenze sinze ntya okimanye tisimye ssebo mukulu 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 mukama akola bikulu munene 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 mukama akola binene mama nga muje tutere ono akole binene mama nga muje tusinze ono akole bikulu akulumizibwe luno luyimba lwa mukwano gwange siluyimbira mulala kubanga baddewo ku lwaffe talina lwe yali atulese waliwo lwe yansanga nga ntidde nga ndyawo nkankana nenywa amazzi agokya nga ndowooza empewo enfuuwa ate nga kwali kutya kwe kwali kujjudde omutima naŋŋamba tunulira nze natunulira mukama nawangula mukulu akola bikulu mukulu bannange munene akola binene kyetutembe omunene mubanene muje tusinza omukulu akola ebikulu akulumizibwe bwentunulira gye budde wange abadde mukama simulala kalani yandinonze mu bangi mbunzije nyimba oluyimba lwo nali sisalina eyalezaalibwa mu nkuseere mu kasenge kyesaniiseemu ebisanyizo sayinako n'ekimu naye omukwano gwo wansaasira ogulumizibwe mukulu 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 mukama mukulu mukulu akola bikulu owange mukulu munene 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 ono munene mukama akola binene mama wanga mujeno tutere ono akola binene mama wanga muje tusinze ono akola bikulu akulumizibwe waliwo butambudde mukwano ngolinga alekeddwawo nga n'abalabi bwe babeera balaba bagamba nti alekeddwa